Chapter 21. In Bonnie's memories, apart from using a warlock's power to sign a soul contract with that egg, there's another method. That is, Master, you must stay here with that egg for 20 days, no less than 3 hours a day. Moreover, 50 milliliters of blood must be drawn from your body every day to irrigate that egg and establish a connection with it. Coupled with the altar's power, it's possible to make the life form within the egg develop a scholarly feeling towards Master. This way, after Master possesses the power of an official level 1 warlock, then you can easily sign a soul contract with it and make it your contract beast. Yang Feng finished listening to Robot Bonnie's words and couldn't help but suck in a mouthful of cold air. In order to hatch an egg, he actually massacred 1,376 virgins. Such a vicious guy. Using living people for biological experiments isn't a rare thing for warlocks. A lot of taboo experiments require humans to carry out biological experiments in order to obtain the most accurate and safe data. In the eyes of the majority of warlocks, mortals are ant-like existences. In the Second Imperial Dynasty, where the taboo experiments were the most crazy, there were even hundreds of millions of humans who died from all kinds of crazy taboo experiments. Demons, the great enemy of humans, were the product of a taboo experiment in the Second Imperial Dynasty. The Second Imperial Dynasty was also destroyed by demons and humans. However, after experiencing countless painful lessons, Tyrannid subcontinent currently prohibits the large-scale massacre of civilians to carry out biological experiments. Bonnie used 1376 virgins, more than 1,000 of them were purchased slaves from all over the world. The rest were gifts offered to him from all over the world. He used these slaves and gifts to carry out biological experiments. It doesn't violate the warlock's laws. At most, he would receive some moral condemnation. Therefore, he was very secretive and placed the altar underground. In the entire warlock pagoda, only he alone can enter this place. Robot Bonnie said. Yang Feng's eyebrows creased slightly. He vaguely felt that he had arrived in a somewhat crazy world. Yang Feng said in a low voice, "If I had lost to Bonnie at that time, then I would have also been captured by him and turned into a subject for human experiments." Robot Bonnie said, "Yes. Contract beast." Yang Feng looked at the strange egg in the center of the altar. His eyes flickered as he sank into contemplation. After beheading Bonnie and capturing Black City, Yang Feng would then face Fernando Principality's counterattack. This was also the most dangerous period of time. The best course of action would of course be for Yang Feng's body to hide in an unknown basement and calmly wait for the storm to pass. He had already manufactured a large number of level 6 and 7 primary battle robots. He could abandon everything at any time and leave Fernando Principality to start anew. Once Yang Feng chose to hatch the strange egg that appeared in the taboo stone, then he might face great danger. Fernando Principality had already been established for more than 300 years. Nobody knew what kind of heritage they possessed. In any case, all the warlocks that attempted to challenge Fernando Principality in these 300 years were already dead. Even an official level 2 warlock had fallen. Yang Feng said hesitantly, "Can it be moved or delayed?" It has now entered the final stage of incubation. Once the egg is removed from this altar, it will be heavily injured, and its evolution potential will decrease. According to Bonnie's memories, only a knowledgeable expert above the Great Warlock rank would be able to remove the egg from the altar or delay its incubation. If he moved the egg away, it would lose its value as a contracted beast. However, it can still be used as rare material to study the forbidden experiments of the Second Dynasty. The Second Dynasty had already existed for nearly 1,000,000 years. A lot of taboo stones with all kinds of items sealed inside were already very rare. For Bonnie to be able to obtain that taboo stone was also an enormous fortune. Even if the egg inside the taboo stone was dead, it would still have an astonishing research value in modern times. Yang Feng pondered for a moment and finally made a decision. "All right. My body will hurry over here as soon as possible. You'll ensure that the ceremony is carried out." Taboo stones were extremely rare in Tyrannid subcontinent. Once they were discovered, they would basically be used by people or collected by the 6 great forces. The egg obtained from the taboo stone might be the last egg in Tyrannid subcontinent that could become a contracted beast. Yang Feng didn't want to let go of this opportunity. Bonnie said respectfully, "Yes, owner." Yang Feng took a deep look at the strange egg placed on the altar, then turned around and left the Warlock Pagoda. Black City, within the city master's mansion. Apprentice warlocks dressed in a grey pow were neatly standing, gazing at Yang Feng sitting on the seat of honor. Many of the apprentice warlocks' eyes flashed with resentment. Beside those apprentice warlocks stood 400 fully armed mechanical bladed troops. As long as those apprentice warlocks made the slightest movement, then those apprentice warlocks would be completely beheaded. This headband can detect your thoughts. This collar is equipped with an alchemy bomb. Once you have any unfavorable thoughts towards us, this collar will blow up your brains. Now, immediately line up, one by one put on this collar and headband. Otherwise, I'll kill you right now. Yang Feng clapped his hands. Mechanical bladed troops carrying basins of black collars and silver rings walked out from both sides. When those apprentice warlocks heard that, their complexions paled, they looked at each other and hesitated. Yang Feng said grimly, "I'll only give you 10 seconds to consider. If you don't line up within 10 seconds, then die." 10. When they heard the death countdown, those apprentice warlocks' complexions paled one by one. They quickly lined up. Yang Feng swept the main hall with a glance and said coldly, 0. If you don't line up, then kill. 200 bladed troops at once rushed into the midst of those 10 hesitant apprentice warlocks, brandishing their blades and madly chopping those 10 apprentice warlocks into pieces. The remaining apprentice warlocks' complexions paled, their bodies trembled, their eyes flashed with endless fear. Let's begin. Yang Feng sat on the seat of honor, one hand supporting his face. He grimly squinted at those remaining apprentice warlocks. Under Yang Feng's command, Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks stepped forward and carefully put on the black collar and silver ring. Bang! After an apprentice warlock put on the black collar and silver ring, the silver ring lit up, the black collar immediately exploded, directly blowing up that apprentice warlock's head. Seeing this scene, those apprentice warlocks were so scared that their bodies trembled, their eyes brimming with fear. They looked at Yang Feng as if they were looking at a great demon king. Yang Feng said with a cold smile, "You want to pretend to surrender, then take advantage of the opportunity to assassinate me? Interesting. It's impossible to hide your thoughts from that mysterious treasure, the silver ring. Continue." Chapter 22. Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks trembled with fear as they put on the black collar and the silver headband. Only 3 people's heads exploded, the rest were lucky enough to pass the test. Yang Feng said with some surprise, "What a surprise. I thought at least half of you would have your heads blown off. I didn't expect your loyalty to Black Cabin to be so little." Many apprentice warlocks' eyes flashed with a touch of shame. The great lord of Steel Yang Yi. Although we are Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks, but apart from the Black Cottage's master's few beloved disciples, in order to obtain Black Cottage's knowledge, we have paid a sufficient price. Every skill required a large amount of gold coins and magic stones to be taught. Moreover, every year we have to run around for the Black Cottage, earning magic stones and gold coins in exchange for warlock knowledge. Our relationship with the Black Cottage is merely an exchange of benefits, so we naturally don't have much loyalty. A level 2 apprentice warlock with short blonde hair, a medium build and an ordinary appearance came out from the crowd of apprentice warlocks, knelt on the ground and explained to Yang Feng. The level 2 apprentice warlock prostrated on the ground and said respectfully, "We've already fulfilled our obligations towards Black Cottage, now Black Cottage has been defeated. We just want to live. Please be magnanimous and grant us a way out. We are willing to serve you." When the rest of the apprentice warlocks saw this scene, they inwardly cursed shamelessness. They also followed suit and prostrated on the ground, respectfully saying, "Please give us a way out, we are willing to serve you." Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "Interesting. What's your name?" Alan raised his head and looked at Yang Feng, his eyes flickered with traces of ambition as he said respectfully, "Mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren, my name is Alan." Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a touch of a scorching radiance and he said unhurriedly, you will represent me in Warlock College Antalya. You tell them that within a month, I will destroy the Fernandro family and dominate the entire Fernandro Principality. At the same time, I am willing to inherit Fernandro Principality's power and duties. Although Fernandro Principality couldn't be compared to the several great empires, it still possessed extremely rich resources. Especially the extremely rich mineral resources, once Yang Feng grasped them. His power would expand rapidly. Given time, it was entirely possible to contend against Antalya and the other 6 great warlock groups. Currently, what Yang Feng needed the most was land, resources and time. Temporarily attaching himself to Warlock College Antalya wasn't a bad thing. Moreover, if he wants to tread on the Warlock's path, he also needs Warlock College Antalya's support. Alan said somewhat worriedly, Darren, Fernandro clan and Warlock College Antalya are on good terms. The first Fernandro clan's patriarch was a student of Warlock College Antalya. Moreover, Fernandro clan would always dispatch the clan's geniuses with the best aptitudes to study in Warlock College Antalya. Many of Warlock College Antalya's teachers received Fernandro clan's care when they were poor. The relationship between both parties was very close. You might infuriate Warlock College Antalya. Yang Feng said coldly, tell them that if they don't agree, then I choose to join Savage Claw. Acting as a sharp sword to slash at them. Alan exclaimed, join the Wild Claws. Good idea. The great Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren is really wise. Savage Claw and Warlock College Antalya were mortal enemies. They had been fighting each other for more than a millennium. Both parties had the blood of countless experts on their hands. As one of the 6 great forces, Warlock College Antalya was slightly weaker than Savage Claw. If a formidable warlock capable of capturing a warlock pagoda joined Savage Claw, then the pressure on Warlock College Antalya would become even greater. After Alan flattered Yang Feng, he changed his tone and said somewhat worriedly, but Fernandro Principality is one of the member states of the Southern States Alliance. The Southern States Alliance is the foundation of Warlock College Antalya. They won't easily relinquish Fernandro Principality's authority. Although Alan wasn't strong, merely at the level of a level 2 apprentice warlock, but he had always helped Black Cottage deal with all kinds of secular matters. He was very familiar with the world situation. Yang Feng said faintly, if it really doesn't work, then let Fernandro Principality cede Golden Sand City and Iron and Wood City to me. In exchange, I'll send my only remaining direct blood meridian inheritor to Warlock College Antalya to practice the warlock path. That direct blood meridian inheritor is also the young lord that all of you will serve henceforth. You must serve him like how you serve me. If he dies, then all of you will die. Therefore, you must use your lives to protect him. Do you understand? Yes. Great Steel Lord Darren. The apprentice warlocks present felt a shiver in their hearts and respectfully responded. Yang Feng swept Alan with a glance and said faintly, Alan, I've never been stingy with my capable subordinates. If you can complete this task, then after you return, they'll be your subordinates. Furthermore, if there's a chance, then I'll help you become an official level 1 warlock. Yes. Great Steel Lord Darren. I'll definitely complete this task. Alan's eyes brightened and his voice trembled with excitement. The rest of Black Cottage's apprentice warlocks looked at Alan. Their eyes also revealed traces of jealousy and envy. The disparity between an apprentice warlock and an official warlock was like a moat. An official level 1 warlock in Tyrannid subcontinent, no matter where they go, they'll be enthusiastically recruited. As long as they join a country, then they'll be able to obtain the status of an aristocrat. Moreover, no matter which country they go to, they'll be recognized as an aristocrat. Wanting to become an official level 1 warlock is extremely difficult. Within the entire Black Cottage, there's only Bonnie, this one level 1 warlock. But the number of apprentice warlocks in Black Cottage actually exceeds 100 people. Once Alan becomes an official level 1 warlock, then his status will undergo an earth-shaking change. Those apprentice warlocks were naturally very envious of Alan. In order to pursue formidable power, many warlocks had once carried out transactions with formidable beings from other planes. Warlocks who had transactions with fiends and devils emerged one after another. In order to obtain formidable power, Bonnie had even transplanted himself with a fiend's blood meridians. If those apprentice warlocks had the power to carry out transactions with fiends and devils, then they'll definitely carry out transactions with those freaks, so that they can promote to a level 1 warlock and obtain formidable power and a long lifespan. Just by working for Yang Feng, it's possible to obtain the opportunity to promote to a level 1 warlock, making those apprentice warlocks full of envy and jealousy towards Alan. Chapter 23. In the evening, Black City was under curfew. In the streets of Black City, teams of level 4 bladed troops patrolled everywhere. The entire Black City was not allowed to light a lamp, it was pitch black, forming a lightless world, like a deathly silent city. Only those red electronic eyes of the bladed troops shuttled back and forth in the darkness, extremely terrifying. The earth slightly shook, and uniform walking sounds were transmitted. 200 level 6 bladed troops, 50 level 7 shield troops, 100 level 6 gunner troops, and 30 level 7 artillery troops formed a large force walking in Black City. A silver car was slowly driving in the middle of that large force. In the air, an owl silently flew out of a hut, its eyes flashing with the unique radiance of an intelligent life form. Shortly after the owl flew out of the hut, from inside a fortress, a red light flashed, an electronic eye completely locked onto the owl, and a 12.5 mm gun barrel extended out. Along with the sound of cloth tearing, a red light flashed, and the owl in the sky was directly torn to pieces, countless minced meat scattered on the ground. A team of 100 bladed troops rushed over from afar, quickly arriving in front of the hut. The leading bladed troop directly swung its saber at the door of the hut, directly chopping it into pieces, before leading the crowd to rush inside. Inside the door, a small candle was lit, the dim light shone inside the hut, making the objects inside the hut faintly visible. Inside the room stood a man and a woman, the man was handsome, the woman was beautiful. After the bladed troops broke into the room, their complexions all of a sudden became incomparably pale. The young man somewhat timidly asked, "Sirs, may I ask what's the matter? Why did you break into our house?" The bladed troops raised the alloy sabers in their hands, their figures flashed, and directly pounced towards the young man and woman. Grease spell. The seemingly very ordinary woman clenched her teeth, pointed at the leading bladed troop, and cast a level 0 spell. The bladed troop's foot slipped, and it directly fell to the ground. The bladed troops in the rear didn't lose momentum, trampling on the fallen bladed troop, and continued to pounce forward. The young man looked at the expressionless bladed troop and couldn't help but shout, "We surrender. We are the spies of White Elephant's Ivory, and we are also the emissaries sent by White Elephant's Ivory. Please stop. I wish to seek an audience with the Steel Lord Yang Yi." The 6 alloy blades stopped in an instant. The sharp blades were only a centimeter away from the young man. The 10 alloy blades also stopped beside the beautiful woman's neck. She was so scared that she didn't dare to move at all. During the siege, the two of them had experienced the ruthlessness of those bladed troops. No matter how those thugs who took advantage of the opportunity to loot houses pleaded, those bladed troops mercilessly killed them one by one, they were simply not like humans. A bladed troop said with an emotionless mechanical voice, "Follow me. If you make any strange movements, only death awaits you." The 2 White Elephant's Ivory spies heaved a sigh of relief. Under the escort of the bladed troops, they obediently walked towards the direction of the prison. Bang! 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 Along with the continuous sounds of cannons, a rat hiding in a corner was directly blasted apart along with the corner of a nearby house, turning into fragments. After the rat hiding in a dark corner was eliminated, the electronic eyes of a 5M tall level 6 gunner troop equipped with 4 6-barreled Vulcan cannons and 2 37mm caliber anti-aircraft cannons flashed with a red light. It then put down the 6-barreled Vulcan cannon. Warlocks had a variety of methods, they were very strange. Some warlocks could easily manipulate all kinds of animals to act as their eyes and ears and carry out reconnaissance. Regarding those methods, Yang Feng knew too little. The only thing he could do was to avoid everyone, while at the same time annihilate all animals and humans that approached his body. the sounds of cannons and gunfire continuously sounded. On Yang Feng's route, squads of level 4 gunner troops and level 4 bladed troops were constantly patrolling, completely annihilating the rats, cockroaches and other living creatures. The convoy stopped in front of the Warlock Pagoda. The up to 8 m tall shield troops flashed with radiance, forming a huge protective cover that completely enveloped the area. Yang Feng's true body stepped out of the silver vehicle and entered the Warlock Pagoda in large strides. The elite squad formed by level 6 elite primary battle robots immediately guarded the Warlock Pagoda's surroundings. Yang Feng, accompanied by Robot Bonnie, once again arrived at the altar at the bottom of the Warlock Pagoda. Yang Feng took a deep look at the egg on the altar, then with large strides he arrived near the egg, took out a syringe, directly drew a vial of blood and dripped it on top of the egg. On top of the egg, the silk-like magic patterns flickered with radiance. Shortly after, Yang Feng's blood directly entered the egg. From inside the egg, a timid spirit fluctuation was transmitted, cautiously coming in contact with Yang Feng. Yang Feng laid a mattress next to the huge egg. While caressing the huge egg, he operated the secret method taught to him by Robot Bonnie, allowing his spirit to become incomparably ethereal. Then, he transmitted his spirit fluctuation. After Yang Feng's spirit fluctuations blended with the spirit of the existence inside the egg, a wonderful feeling of joy, as if one had woken up from loneliness and darkness, was transmitted from the egg, firmly intertwined with Yang Feng's spirit, and at once engulfed Yang Feng, who had never practiced cultivation, causing him to faint. Shit! How could this be? I still haven't arranged it properly. A thought welled up in Yang Feng's mind, then he directly fainted. The originally deathly still Robot Bonnie's eyes flashed with a whiff of human-like doubt as he whispered, "What's going on?" According to the analysis of Bonnie's memories, such a thing shouldn't have happened. It seems like the egg that emerged from the taboo stone isn't ordinary. That was the super brain NR-3796 taking over the control of Robot Bonnie. NR-3796 went to Yang Feng's side, his right hand wriggled, transforming into mechanical tentacles that shrouded Yang Feng's head. NR-3796 analyzed, "Master isn't dead. But the ceremony must be carried out, otherwise Master will turn into an idiot or a genuine waste. During this period, protecting Master is the first priority." Mysterious fluctuations quickly spread throughout Yang Feng's forces. All the munitions factories began to operate day and night, madly producing all kinds of battle weapons. In addition to the necessary defensive forces, the mechanical legions were quickly transferred from their garrisons to Black City to await orders. Chapter 24. Fernandro Principality's capital, Nerona City, within the royal palace. A blue-haired, blue-eyed, aquiline nose, a burly bear-like man sat on the main seat, his gaze brimming with ice-cold majesty. This blue-haired, blue-eyed man was the current Archduke Fernandro. This generation's Archduke Fernandro was one of the most outstanding archdukes in Fernandro Principality's history. Under his leadership, the entire Fernandro Principality was thriving, several times more prosperous than in the past. Under the gaze of Archduke Fernandro, the ministers below were somewhat restless and somewhat fearful. Archduke Fernandro was clear about rewards and punishments. The rewards were definitely generous, but the punishments were also definitely hard to bear. Archduke Fernandro spoke in a low voice, stressing each syllable, "I want to know the origin of Steel Lord Yang Yi." The ministers present all lowered their heads, not daring to look Archduke Fernandro in the eye. Yang Feng had just emerged for less than half a year. The gazes of these ministers previously practically didn't pay attention to that remote corner of Autumn Leaf Town. No one would have thought that in a short span of less than 3 months, even Black City would fall into enemy hands. Archduke Fernandro's gaze turned around and fell on a middle-aged man with already somewhat grizzled hair. That middle-aged man was Fernandro Principality's Minister of Defense, Archer. Archer said unhurriedly, "Your Majesty, according to the intelligence, Autumn Leaf Town's Zhao Jiang suddenly occupied Blackrock Town more than 2 months ago. He was the commander of Steel Lord Yang Ye's Mechanical Golem Legion. Immediately after, Giant Stone City dispatched troops to suppress the rebels, but they were defeated by Steel Lord's Mechanical Golem Legion. Then Steel Lord Yang Ye's mechanical golem legion once again raided Black City and killed Grandmaster Bonnie. According to my conjecture, Zhao Jiang is very likely to have obtained 6th Dynasty's relics, as well as 6th Dynasty's mechanical golem legion. 6th Dynasty. That mechanical golem legion is a product of 6th Dynasty. 6th Dynasty's mechanical golem legion is a terrifying existence capable of slaughtering gods. If that's really 6th Dynasty's mechanical golem legion, then how can we possibly resist them? Hearing the name 6th Dynasty, the complexions of all the ministers at once became incomparably pale, and they discussed spiritedly. Among the 8 great warlock dynasties, the second warlock dynasty was brimming with all kinds of taboo experiments. The 6th Dynasty was a dynasty that specialized in forging all kinds of secret treasures. The 6th Dynasty was also called the Secret Treasure Dynasty. Mechanical marionettes were a powerful battle weapon developed by the Secret Treasure Dynasty. During the 6th Dynasty, the mechanical marionette army of the 6th Dynasty had also conquered many planes and slaughtered countless gods and demons from those planes. The 6th Dynasty's greatest masterpiece, the King of Mechanical Golems, Arkanti, was one of the most powerful existences. Later, for some unknown reason, under the temptation of the devil, Arkanti led 1/3 of his mechanical golem legion to rebel against the 6th Dynasty, which led to the destruction of the 6th Dynasty. After the destruction of the 6th Dynasty, Arkanti drifted to a powerful prime material plane, occupied that prime material plane, and became the ruler of that prime material plane. The prime material plane was now called the Machine and an Apple plane. It was also one of the most powerful and terrifying planes known to mankind. Many demons and gods had gone to the plane of a Machine and an Apple in an attempt to kill Arkanti, who was said to be very weak. But all the powerful existences that went to that plane were turned into specimens, and hung in front of the mechanical gate. Over time, no powerful existences dared to go to the plane of a Machine and an Apple. The 6th Dynasty's mechanical marionette army was so fierce and powerful. If any soldier of the 6th Dynasty's strongest mechanical marionette army went to Tyrandot subcontinent, they could completely sweep the entire Tyrandot subcontinent, and no one would be able to match them. Archer said in a deep voice, "Everyone, don't panic." Even if he obtained the 6th Dynasty's mechanical marionette army, the original mechanical marionette army already doesn't have much power. According to the information we obtained, those mechanical marionettes currently only have knight rank battle strength. Moreover, most of them are close combat type mechanical marionettes, and should be some defective goods. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been so easily obtained by him. As long as we use the Bloodbat Battle Knights, we can easily annihilate them. Bloodbat Battle Knights. If it's them, they should be able to annihilate those mechanical marionettes. If it's just knight rank marionettes, there's no need to worry. They're all antiques from hundreds of thousands of years ago. They shouldn't have much power left. The complexions of the Fernandro Principality's ministers became slightly better, and they unceasingly consoled themselves. If it was the 6th Dynasty's elite mechanical marionette army that could slaughter demons and gods, then they absolutely wouldn't be able to resist. However, they still had the confidence to resist 1 or 2 defective goods. Archduke Fernandro said unhurriedly, "Snake Evil Eyes and White Bear Fangs have also agreed to form an alliance with us to annihilate Yang Yi. I need the Parliament's authorization to mobilize 100,000 magic stones as military expenditure." Magic stones were a kind of energy crystallization with mysterious power. The diameter of a standard-sized magic stone was approximately the size of an adult's index finger. Magic stones were treasures that were used in alchemy, golemology, and all kinds of rituals. Magic stones were also the unit of measurement in the world of warlocks. The price of a magic stone was approximately 100 gold coins, which was equivalent to 200,000 copper coins. 100,000 magic stones were equivalent to 10 million gold coins, or 2 billion copper coins. Archduke Fernandro also needed the Parliament's authorization to mobilize this huge sum of money. Agreed. Your Majesty, I'll definitely spare no effort. This motion will be passed by the Parliament. The ministers seconded the motion one after another. A day later, Fernandro's Parliament convened in secret, and the motion to mobilize 100,000 magic stones was passed at an extremely fast speed. 3 days later, Blood Dragon Mountain Range was located approximately 100 kilometers north of Fernandro Principality's capital. It was a vast mountain range shrouded in endless forests. Blood Dragon Mountain Range completely belonged to Fernandro family. Apart from those who were recognized by Fernandro family, anyone who entered Blood Dragon Mountain Range would be directly executed. Blood Dragon Mountain Range was extremely rich in natural resources. Fernandro family could obtain enormous wealth from Blood Dragon Mountain Range every year. In the depths of Blood Dragon Mountain Range was a valley surrounded by several 100-meter-tall mountain peaks. It was covered with caves of various sizes. From time to time, there would be huge bats with a wingspan of up to 10 m, their bodies seemingly dyed red with blood, and their mouths full of sharp fangs flying out of those caves. Chapter 25. On top of those huge bats, there were warriors riding bare-chested, with bizarre patterns painted on their bodies and spears emitting formidable fluctuations of life. Those warriors riding on the huge bats were Fernandro Principality's strongest armed forces, the Blood Bat Knights. The Blood Bat Knights were an aerial corps. The entire corps had 5,000 members. Every member of the Blood Bat Knights was an expert at Knight rank or above. There were also a lot of Great Knights and Earth Knight rank experts, which were rarely seen in the outside world. The Blood Bat Knights' commander, Fernan, was even a Sky Knight. The Blood Bat Knights were an extremely formidable aerial corps. Even official level 1 warlocks had been besieged and killed by them many times. They were one of Fernandro Principality's pillars. Inside the valley, on top of a huge rock, sat a 2-meter tall and sturdy man, with taut muscles all over his body and countless blade scars, with a head full of loose blonde hair. A skylark flew from the sky towards the blonde tall and sturdy man. When the skylark approached the blonde tall and sturdy man, the blonde tall and sturdy man opened his eyes, extended his big hand, and let the skylark land on his hand. The skylark opened its mouth and chirped, "Fernan, His Majesty the Grand Duke has ordered. Your Blood Bat Knights are ordered to immediately prepare for battle. The target is Black City's Steel Lord Yang Yi. Snake Evil Eyes and White Bear Fangs will coordinate with you to attack together." Fernand's eyes flashed with a bloodthirsty radiance. Like a wild beast, he stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. "There's another battle. My blood is starting to boil." Before long, swarms of huge blood bats formed an army and flew out of the valley, practically covering the sky. Black City's Warlock Pagoda's 3rd floor, inside an electronic command center covered with screens, the screens were flashing with radiances, displaying different scenes. NR 3796's possessed robot Bonnie stood inside the electronic command center, its eyes flashing with countless streams of data. It stood still like a sculpture. One after another, the elite troops belonging to Fernandro Principality assembled from all over the place, transforming into a torrent as they advanced towards Black City. NR 3796's eyes flashed with a red glint as he continuously analyzed. "The enemy troops have assembled. Should we attack? No. Right now, the first order is to protect the master. Do not split up. If Yang Feng were to command the battle, then he would definitely dispatch the Mechanical Legion to take advantage of the time lag of Fernandro Principality's major forces to concentrate their superior forces and destroy Fernandro Principality's major forces one by one, or even take the initiative to attack Fernandro Principality's capital. He wanted to stall for time and exhaust the enemy's forces. The greatest advantage of Yang Feng's Mechanical Legion was that unless the wreckage of the Mechanical Legion was taken away from the battlefield, it wouldn't be able to be destroyed. Otherwise, he could easily use the wreckage of the mechanical army to create new robots. In terms of consumption, as long as there was sufficient energy, it was absolutely possible to completely annihilate Fernandro Principality's army, which mainly relied on flesh and blood. But even though NR 3796 has supercomputing power, but because of Yang Feng's unawakened slumber, he could only choose the worst option, that was to have the entire Mechanical Legion defend Black City. Time flew by, and 10 days went by slowly. Above the altar in the basement of the Warlock Pagoda, Yang Feng's body suddenly trembled slightly and he opened his eyes with some difficulty. Infusion tubes were inserted into Yang Feng's blood vessels. From the infusion tubes, normal saline solution, glucose solution as well as the most basic elixir refining elixir were unceasingly dripping down. After all, Yang Feng didn't practice cultivation on the warlock path, his body was still that of an earthling's waste, it was extremely weak. If it wasn't for him taking all kinds of elixirs every day, he would have already died. So dangerous. Warlocks things are really too strange. Without a strong body, I really can't afford to play around. I almost didn't wake up. Yang Feng shook his somewhat dazed head, he thought with lingering fear. Master, I'm NR 3796, I welcome you to wake up. Originally, I should have let you have a good rest. But now the situation is urgent, I ask you to immediately make a decision, to fight or to flee. After Robot Bonnie finished speaking, his eyes emitted rays of light that condensed into huge screens in the void. On those huge screens, a huge army that stretched for several tens of li was advancing towards Black City. Above that huge army was a dense swarm of blood-colored giant bats that could make one's scalp go numb. NR 3796, who was possessed by Robot Bonnie, said calmly, Fernando Principality's main force, 5,000 cavalry, 200 heavy knights, 40,000 infantry and 120,000 auxiliary troops. Scarlet Knights, 5,000. Snake Evil Eyes, 1 level, 2 warlock, 5 level, 1 warlocks and 60 apprentice warlocks. White Bear Fangs, 1 level, 2 warlock, 3 level, 1 warlocks and 50 apprentice warlocks. Fernando Clan, 1 level, 2 warlock, 10 level, 1 warlocks and 200 apprentice warlocks. They're advancing towards Black City, there's still 30 minutes until they reach Black City. Yang Feng couldn't help but say, NR 3796. Why are you letting them assemble their troops? With our mechanical legion's mobility, we can completely get rid of them before their troops can take shape. Even if it's an attack against an attack, dispatching the mechanical legion to threaten their capital is also good. The mechanical legion's level 4 bladed troops with fully charged batteries have a combat radius of approximately 200 kilometers. But as long as they carry replaceable high-energy batteries, then they can unceasingly expand their combat radius. With the level 4 bladed troops' movement speed and mobility, they can completely get rid of those human troops before they can assemble. If Yang Feng were to command and utilize the mechanical legion's strength, then dealing with these mortal troops with the exception of warlocks, who only have the mobilization level of medieval humans, would be as easy as drinking water. NR 3796 said, My first task is to protect your safety. When you don't have a clear order and after losing consciousness, then I can only assemble all of my troops to protect your safety. Please give the order, to fight or to flee. Of course it's to fight. Take the initiative to attack and get rid of them. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a cold glint, he quickly searched for the position of his mechanical legion and issued a series of orders. One by one, the mechanical legion that had shrunk into Black City was immediately launched, forming a mechanical flood. From within Black City, they uniformly and rapidly marched, taking the initiative to greet Fernando Principality's army. Above Fernando Principality's army flew an enormous magic carpet with a diameter of up to 100 m. On top of that magic carpet stood 3 people, they were Snake Evil Eyes, White Bear Fangs and Fernando Clan's 3 great level 2 warlocks. Chapter 26. They're here. Yang Ye's Mechanical Golem Legion. A man in a black robe with 2 small black snakes coiled around his body, each with a single horn on its head. He had a pair of snake-like vertical eyes and held a 2-meter-long mace in his hand, said in a deep voice. The man dressed in a black chongpao and had snake-like vertical eyes was the level 2 warlock Arbane with snake evil eyes. The middle-aged man dressed in a white chongpao and held a black book in his hand, had blonde hair and blue eyes, had a handsome appearance and said in a deep voice, Blood Bat Knights, attack. Destroy those golems. The middle-aged man was Fernando Clan's level 2 warlock Kenny. He was also the most formidable existence among the 3 great level 2 warlocks. He was the commander of the army. The Blood Bat Knights warriors riding on their huge blood bats flew in the sky. Giant strength. Accurate shot. Haste. The apprentice warlocks below frantically cast level 0 spells and blessed the Blood Bat Knight's warriors with a large number of status spells. After the Blood Bat Knight's warriors as well as their pets received the blessings, their battle prowess immediately soared by a fold and they once again flew into the sky. The warriors of the Blood Bat Knights quickly flew above the bladed troop Mechanical Legion, and threw palm-sized alchemy bombs downwards. Boom! 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 Along with a series of loud sounds, the palm-sized alchemy bombs exploded as soon as they landed on the ground. The terrifying explosions directly blasted the level for mechanical bladed troops into pieces, with countless components scattering on the ground. Yang Feng watched as the level for mechanical bladed troops were blasted to pieces and his eyes flashed with a touch of graveness. Biological bombers. Truly amazing. Under the bombardment of the Blood Bat Knights, the level for mechanical bladed troops still didn't dodge or evade. They didn't make any sounds amidst the explosions and expressionlessly rushed towards Fernandro Principality's army. The eyes of the medium-built level 2 warlock Jamet from White Bear Fangs flashed with a touch of graveness and he said unhurriedly, "The Mechanical Golem Legion is indeed one of 6th Dynasty's most terrifying trump cards. Even if these are only some defective knight rank products, once they appear in large numbers, they're still so terrifying." The ordinary human armies had long collapsed under the bombardment of the Blood Bat Knight's alchemy bombs. Even if they didn't collapse, they would scatter in all directions and look for cover. However, those bladed troops were still fearless. They charged towards Fernandro Principality. This kind of power was simply terrifying. Under the siege of more than 10,000 level 4 bladed troops, even a level 2 warlock could only cut a sorry figure and flee. In the end, it's just some defective goods. Kenny smiled coldly and flipped open the black book in his hand. Dozens of pitch-black seeds flew out of a black page and landed on the ground. As soon as the dozens of pitch-black seeds fell into the ground, they grew madly, transforming into dozens of pitch-black vines that were dozens of meters long. The dozens of pitch-black vines crazily swung, like dozens of huge whips. They ferociously lashed at the level for bladed troops, sending them flying. The several tens of long pitch-black vines obstructed a large number of level for bladed troops, while the group of heavy knights in heavy armor launched a charge, directly splitting the scattered level for bladed troops into pieces and sending them flying. 1,000 advanced warriors with sledgehammers in their hands fiercely hammered those level for bladed troops. The level for bladed troops were smashed into pieces one by one. After Fernandro Principality knew that Yang Feng was using a mechanical legion, he immediately changed the weapons of his troops. They switched to heavy weapons like sledgehammers. Thus, after the ordinary troops were blessed with tremendous strength, haste and a series of level 0 auxiliary spells, they also possessed the power to threaten ordinary level for bladed troops. Those apprentice warlocks quietly stood in the center of the army, protected by the army. They didn't release any offensive level 0 spells. Instead, they were always preparing a variety of level 0 auxiliary spells, helping the human army at any time. Under the protection of those apprentice warlocks, the official level 1 warlocks were calmly watching everything, conserving their spirit force and physical strength. They would only act at the most crucial moment. Under the assistance of the formidable level 2 warlock Kenny, the huge level for bladed troops were forcibly blocked for a moment. The Blood Bat Knights in the sky unceasingly threw alchemical bombs, blasting the level for bladed troops into pieces, countless components scattering everywhere. Hundreds and thousands of bladed troops were fragmented and turned into countless components and fragments in the midst of the explosions. Yang Feng looked at the level for bladed troops that were fragmented by the explosions. He coldly ordered, "Gunner troops, attack." 10,000 gunner troops that had long since found cover to hide on one side, suddenly appeared. They raised their 12.5 mm heavy machine guns and madly fired at the Blood Bat Knights in the sky. Along with ear-piercing sounds of cloth being torn apart, countless flares blossomed. A dense rain of metal bullets shrouded the sky in a flash. A little bit of blood blossomed in the sky. One after another, the Blood Bat Knights were shot full of sieves by the terrifying heavy machine gun bullets, falling to the ground from the sky. The giant blood bats also continuously fell from the sky, turning into corpses. "Rise! Rise!" Fernand's complexion changed greatly. In a flash his whole body erupted with a formidable life force, shrouding his whole body. Simultaneously, he issued a tremendous roar, urging the giant blood bat below him to directly climb towards the sky. More than a dozen heavy machine gun bullets hit Fernand's body. Immediately after, they were directly distorted by the incomparably formidable life force and ricocheted away. Among knight-rank martial artists, only 1 in 100,000 would appear as a Sky Knight. Once promoted to a Sky Knight, one would be able to erupt with a formidable life force for defense within a short period of time. The defensive strength of that life force was comparable to that of a level 1 defensive spell. This was also the most important reason why a Sky Knight could contend against a level 1 warlock. In order to be as accurate as possible in killing the level 4 bladed troops, the Blood Bat Knights flew at a relatively low altitude, becoming a good target. Under the crazy fire of the 10,000 gunner troops, more than 1,000 Blood Bat Knights warriors were directly torn to shreds by that terrifying firepower. The remaining Blood Bat Knights warriors desperately flew towards the sky. Fuck! That damned bastard! Kenny saw that more than 1,000 Blood Bat Knights warriors were killed. His heart was dripping blood, he gnashed his teeth and cursed. The Blood Bat Knights warriors were death warriors nurtured by Fernandro clan since childhood. They were loyal and devoted to Fernandro clan. The resources consumed by each Blood Bat Knights warrior was equivalent to the size of a gold mountain. Now that they lost more than 1,000 warriors, the Blood Bat Knights' strength had already been damaged. Chapter 27. After the level 4 gunner troops forced the Blood Bat Knights out of their firing range, they immediately turned their muzzles and madly shot at the 3 level 2 warlocks sitting on the magic carpet. Sparks sparkled and countless metal bullets bombarded the 3 level 2 warlocks like raindrops. Distortion force field. Arbane pointed with his finger and cast a level 1 defensive spell. A warping force field suddenly appeared in front of the magic carpet. Countless heavy machine gun bullets hit the warping force field, but their trajectories were immediately distorted and deflected. However, the rain of bullets below was almost endless, and the distorted force field only lasted for 5 seconds before it collapsed. Arbane was forced to release another distortion force field to defend himself. Arbane frowned and said in a deep voice, "Let's go down. At this rate, my mental strength will be depleted very quickly." A level 2 warlock can easily cast level 1 spells. But the spirit force of a level 2 warlock wasn't limitless. At that time, when Bonnie was inside the Warlock Pagoda, he could draw support from the Warlock Pagoda's power to display a terrifying strength, but he was also forced out of the Warlock Pagoda by the tens of thousands of bladed troops. Arbane's strength still couldn't compare to Bonnie's inside the Warlock Pagoda. If he continues to consume his energy like this, then only death awaits him. Kenny looked down with a gloomy gaze. Having lost the bombardment of the Blood Bat Knights in the sky, the densely packed level 4 bladed troops swarmed forward, chopping the black vines into pieces. The apprentice warlocks have already made their moves, casting a variety of level 0 spells to assist in weakening those level 4 bladed troops' battle prowess. But the number of level 4 bladed troops is really too many. Even if those apprentice warlocks go all out to cast a variety of level 0 spells, the black vines are still chopped into pieces. Before long, those bladed troops will kill their way into Fernandro Principality's main army. Even with the help of a level 1 warlock, Fernandro Principality's army definitely wasn't a match for those level 4 bladed troops. Even if only one of those bladed troops dies, as long as they don't receive the order to retreat, they will still fight to the death without retreating. On the other hand, if the casualties of the human warriors exceeded 10,000, they would immediately collapse. Jamp frowned and said in a deep voice, "Let's retreat." Requesting assistance from Warlock College Antalya. This Steel Lord Yang Yi may not have much ability, but his mechanical golem legion is too powerful. The strength of a level 2 warlock was far more formidable than that of a level 1 warlock. Moreover, the most troublesome part about them was that they would choose to escape when the situation was not good. In theory, a mortal army of 10,000 already possessed the strength to besiege a level 2 warlock. But it was impossible for the level 2 warlock to stand there and fight to the death with the mortal army. The level 2 warlocks could choose to behead the leader, or they could choose to engage in guerrilla warfare, or they could even use poison. In any case, there were plenty of methods to gradually eliminate the mortal army. When Jampt saw that the situation was not good, he wanted to retreat. He was not willing to risk his life for tens of thousands of magic stones. Kenny said with a gloomy expression, "Jampt, I know you have a level 1 prophecy scroll. Sell it to me, and I will pay you a satisfactory price." The divination system was the most difficult system to cultivate within the warlock system. The most representative types were astrologer and fate warlock. Astrologer and fate warlock, such formidable divination system warlocks were extremely difficult to cultivate. They required extraordinary talent as well as great luck, countless resources, and painstaking efforts to be successful in their cultivation. Apart from these two types of formidable orthodox warlocks, there were also a lot of other divination system warlocks, but their accomplishments weren't very great, and very few people cultivated them. Divination spell scrolls were also very rare, and each one was extremely precious. Jampt grinned and said, "I want the level 2 secret treasure green revolving ring on your body." Arbane's eyelids twitched, and he stared at the cyan bracelet on Kenny's right hand. Secret treasures were warlock alchemists who used formidable alchemy to refine all kinds of precious materials into extraordinary treasures. Every secret treasure was extremely precious. Especially defensive secret treasures that could save one's life, they were even more precious. The level 2 secret treasure green revolving ring was the best defensive secret treasure in Kenny's possession, and it was also one of the 5 best defensive secret treasures of Fernandro clan. Under ordinary circumstances, to be able to exchange a level 1 divination scroll for a level 1 defensive secret treasure was already very lucky. Jampt using that level 1 divination to exchange for the green revolving ring was clearly robbing a burning house. Kenny's expression was gloomy as he said in a cold voice, "A level 1 divination can't predict the position of a level 2 warlock. If Yang Yi was a level 2 warlock, or if he learned a spell to resist divination, then this scroll of divination would be a waste." Divination was extremely strange, mortals were basically unable to resist it. So long as a divination was used, then unless an ordinary person hid in an area shrouded by extraordinary power, otherwise, they would have nowhere to hide. Although mortals were unable to resist divination, but warlocks possessed all kinds of means and secret treasures to resist divination. Of course, only an official warlock with a formidable inheritance could have the means to resist divination. If a level 1 divination was used on a level 2 warlock, then it would basically have no effect. Jampt grinned and said, "Kenny, don't be angry. If you don't want to exchange, then forget it. We'll retreat. If you don't retreat, then your dark vines will be killed." After Kenny's gaze changed several times, he finally clenched his teeth, took off the green revolving ring on his right hand and threw it to Jampt. "Good. I'll exchange." After Jampt received the bracelet, he gave a satisfied smile, then took out a golden scroll and threw it to Kenny. Kenny received the golden scroll, then at once poured a tremendous amount of spirit force into the golden scroll. The golden scroll at once radiated with a golden radiance, then formed an arrow pointing straight at Black City's Warlock Pagoda. Inside the Warlock Pagoda, Yang Feng looked at the golden arrow through the display screen, his heart slightly sank as he said, "What spell is this?" Robot Bonnie said, "This is divination. Owner, you've been targeted by divination. Before the effect of divination loses its effect, the caster will be aware of the position. At present, there's no way to resist it. Only if you upgrade the stronghold to level 4, then you'll be able to produce the corresponding divination isolating machine." Chapter 28. Kenny's eyes flashed with a whiff of excitement and he said in a deep voice, "The divination spell was a success. This means that he's merely a level 1 warlock at most, and that he was lucky enough to obtain a defective product of 6th Dynasty's Mechanical Golem Legion. Please help me suppress his Warlock Pagoda. I'll go get rid of him." Jampt and Arbane both nodded in agreement and said, "All right." Kenny looked for the 2 great level 2 warlocks in order to suppress Black City's Warlock Pagoda. Only then could he seize the opportunity to kill Steel Lord Yang Yi inside the Warlock Pagoda. The three great level 2 warlocks urged the magic carpet to quickly fly towards the warlock pagoda. A large number of level 4 gunner troops madly swept towards the sky. The majority of the terrifying metal barrage directly missed, only a portion of the bullets hit the three great level 2 warlocks. The bullets that hit the ground also deviated from their trajectories under the distortion of the warping force field and shot into the distance. The three great level 2 warlocks abandoned Fernandro's main legion that was bitterly fighting, and appeared in the sky above Black City in less than 10 minutes, before directly flying towards the warlock pagoda. Kenny looked at the 3-story-tall warlock pagoda, his eyes flashed with a whiff of malevolence and he sneered, "Steel Lord Yang Yi, you're dead." The three great level 2 warlocks joined hands to besiege a level 1 warlock locked by the divination spell. Even if that level 1 warlock was hiding inside the warlock pagoda, it would still be difficult for him to escape death. Suddenly, the roofs of the buildings opened, revealing pitch-black gun muzzles. Almost in a split second, the surroundings of Black City's warlock pagoda formed an anti-aircraft artillery position. Inside the anti-aircraft artillery position, the number of 37 5mm anti-aircraft cannons reached up to 2,000. Not good. Warping force field. Air god shield. Kenny saw the sudden appearance of the anti-aircraft cannons below. Immediately a trace of an ominous premonition welled up in his heart. He instantly launched a level 1 defensive spell. Simultaneously he stimulated a defensive secret treasure and launched a level 3 defensive spell. Boom! 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 The ear-piercing rumbles of the cannons in a flash resounded throughout Black City. Countless red lights were shot from the city shrouded in darkness, directly swallowing Kenny and his party. Each cannon shell was equivalent to a level 1 spell. Even if most of the cannons missed, there were still thousands upon thousands of cannonballs comparable to first-tier spells bombarding the first-tier spell distortion force field, instantly shattering it. Terrifying machine gun shells bombarded Kenny and the other 2 great warlocks. Kenny's group of 3 instantly activated defensive spells one after another, but those defensive spells collapsed one after another. Arbane himself was torn to shreds by the terrifying cannonball. Right before Jamt was about to be torn apart by the cannonballs, he finally activated his bloodline transformation ability and transformed into a Komodo flying snake with wings. With his half-destroyed body, he flew into the sky and disappeared. Kenny launched the 3rd-tier spell Air Shield and relied on it to resist the countless cannonballs for 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, the black book in Kenny's hand flipped rapidly, and a pair of griffin wings flew out from one of the pages and landed on Kenny's back. As soon as Kenny got on the griffin's wings, he turned around and flew away without looking back. Under the bombardment of the countless cannonballs, he was basically unable to approach the warlock pagoda. Matrix fire. Kenny had just inserted the black wings, when Yang Feng immediately issued an order. 300 level 6 gunner troops quickly adjusted their firing positions, forming a small all-encompassing matrix. In a flash spouted endless tongues of fire towards the sky. The calculation ability, shooting speed and shooting accuracy of level 6 gunner troops were by far superior to level 4 gunner troops. That matrix-style firing method at once completely enveloped Kenny. No matter how Kenny dodged, he was firmly bitten by the Vulcan cannon shells. The defensive force field formed by defensive spells was directly shattered. After 10 seconds, Kenny was completely swallowed by that terrifying artillery fire, turning into countless fragments that fell from the sky. Yang Feng watched as Kenny was torn to shreds by the anti-aircraft artillery. He silently thought, although level 2 warlocks are formidable, but wanting to break through my defensive stronghold is also a pipe dream. I reckon that only a great warlock rank expert in coordination with a large number of level 3 warlocks might be able to break through Black City. However, after the completion of the construction of the level 1 defensive stronghold, even if a great warlock came, I wouldn't have to be afraid. However, if it's an expert above the great warlock rank, then level 1 defensive stronghold might not be able to withstand them. Moreover, my body is too weak. It's very easy to be killed by poison, curses and other strange spells. Yang Feng, who possessed a formidable mechanical legion, his only weakness was his body. His body's physical constitution was merely at the level of an ordinary earthling. In this Tyrannid subcontinent, however, He belonged to the lowest level of existence. Even a peasant's physical constitution might be a lot stronger than his. If a curse or a plague-type spell were to hit him, then only death would await him. It's a pity that one escaped. Level 2 warlocks are truly monster-like existences. Yang Feng thought somewhat regretfully. Under the intensive bombardment of 2,000 anti-aircraft artillery controlled by a super-artificial intelligence, he was actually still able to escape. He completely displayed the might of a level 2 warlock. An ordinary human would have already been blasted into pieces. We failed. Steel Lord Yang Ye's mechanical golem legion is much more formidable than we imagined. Snake Evil Eye's people, immediately withdraw. An extremely weak voice suddenly sounded in the minds of Snake Evil Eye's warlocks and apprentice warlocks. Snake Evil Eye's warlocks immediately had a huge change in their complexions. After a brief exchange, they immediately withdrew from the battlefield and fled towards a distant place. Snake Evil Eye's warlocks withdrew. The originally precarious battlefield at once collapsed like an avalanche. A large number of level 4 bladed troops directly killed their way through Snake Evil Eye's defensive line and directly killed their way into Fernandro clan's army. Without the support of warlocks, Fernandro clan's mortal army was basically not a match for those level 4 bladed troops. They were practically completely massacred by the level 4 bladed troops. The crazy massacre continued for a while. Fernandro clan's mortal army began to collapse from Snake Evil Eye's direction. Like a tide, they retreated backwards. The huge army of retreating troops scattered the troops that were still fighting, causing the army to begin to collapse. Snake Evil Eye's group of bastards. A level 1 warlock from Fernandro clan saw the army collapse. He gnashed his teeth and cursed, then sighed helplessly. We're also withdrawing. Fernandro clan's warlocks and White Bear Fang's warlocks also took advantage of the chaos of the battlefield to quickly withdraw from the battlefield. The Blood Bat Knights in the sky also directly flew away from the battlefield. Having lost these backbone forces, Fernandro clan's mortal army completely collapsed. There were scattered soldiers everywhere. Under the siege of the mechanical bladed troops, a large number of the scattered soldiers chose to surrender. Chapter 29. The Southern States Alliance was an alliance formed by 10 large principalities and nearly 100 small states. Many small states even only had a single city. Warlock College Antalya was located in the center of the Southern States Alliance and dominated all of the member states of the Southern States Alliance. Warlock College Antalya's headquarters, St. Colin City, was also the only huge city in the Southern States Alliance with a population exceeding 5 million. St. Colin City, within a tavern. Alan's eyebrows were tightly creased as he continuously calculated in his mind. So bad, Warlock College Antalya actually didn't receive me. Are they determined to get rid of the mighty Steel Lord? It had already been more than 10 days since Alan arrived in St. Colin City. Within these 10 days, no one from Warlock College Antalya had come in contact with him. As if they had completely forgotten about him. This made him feel somewhat uneasy. Once Warlock College Antalya was determined to get rid of Yang Feng's fictitious Steel Lord Yang Yi, then Alan's situation would become very dangerous. But no matter how astute Alan was, his time in St. Colin City was after all too short, his intelligence was too little, and he was basically unable to accomplish anything. Mr. Allen, Warlock College Antalya's Colin Darren requests an audience. After a knock on the door, a very courteous voice was heard from outside. Alan's eyes lit up, he immediately got up and opened the door. Outside the door, an approximately 35 or 36-year-old official level 1 warlock, dressed in a white warlock gown with a silver thread on the cuffs, stood next to a female attendant. The young warlock said with a slight smile, "Are you Alan?" "I'm Warlock College Antalya's Colin. Colin Darren." "I'm Alan." Alan pressed his right hand on his chest, slightly bowed in salute towards Colin. In Tyrandit subcontinent, apart from official warlocks, the rest of the apprentice warlocks had to salute when meeting an official warlock. This was a necessary etiquette. If they didn't do so, then some narrow-minded warlocks would even take the initiative to get rid of those fellows who didn't understand etiquette. Colin said with a slight smile, "Please come with me. Blitz Darren wants to see you." Alan's eyes flashed with a touch of shock as he exclaimed, "Blitz Darren. Don't tell me it's that Scarlet Hand's Blitz Darren." Scarlet Hand's Blitz was an incomparably powerful level 3 warlock in Tyrannid subcontinent. He had once single-handedly destroyed a small mortal state and killed 2 terrifying existences of level 3 warlocks. Alan had previously seen only level 1 warlocks, but now that he could see a level 3 warlock, he was naturally very shocked and excited. The VIPs that Alan had seen before were merely level 1 warlocks. Now that he was able to see a level 3 warlock, he was naturally very shocked and excited. A level 3 warlock wasn't an existence that a nobody like him could meet. "That's right, it's Scarlet Hand Blitz." Colin smiled. Alan calmed himself down and said politely, "Then please lead the way, Lord Colin." Under Colin's lead, the 2 people arrived at a spacious meeting hall in St. Colin City. As soon as Alan stepped into the assembly hall, he saw level 2 warlocks sitting on both sides of the assembly hall exuding terrifying, imposing auras. On the seat of honor in the hall sat a silver-haired middle-aged man dressed in a scarlet warlock's gown with 3 silver lines. He appeared to be 40 or 50 years old. Alan's body shook as soon as he saw the silver-haired middle-aged man's eyes. As if he had seen 2 extremely dazzling suns, his eyes were in severe pain and his soul was shaken to the point of almost collapsing and shattering. So terrifying. Is this the strength of a level 3 warlock? Truly terrifying. Alan had a splitting headache, his heart brimming with shock and fear. He was very clear that Scarlet Hand's Blitz didn't even need to use any means, he could kill a level 3 apprentice warlock like him with just a gaze. This was the strength of Tyrannid subcontinent's peak warlocks. A level 2 warlock sitting beside the hall waved his hand and a rainbow-colored radiance shrouded Alan. Alan felt much better and heaved a long sigh of relief. Blitz looked at Alan and said indifferently, "Alan, what did Yang Yi send you for?" "Excuse me, are you Scarlet Hand's Blitz Darren?" "Yes." Alan said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "The mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren sent me in the hope of replacing Fernandro Principality and Cineris Principality, establishing a new principality based on the territories of the 2 principalities, inheriting the rights and obligations of the 2 great principalities, and serving the mighty Warlock College Antalya. The mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren can display his strength to you, as long as you agree. We can destroy all of Fernandro Principality's resistance within a month." Destroy all of Fernandro Principality's resistance within a month, what a big tone. No, maybe he really can achieve this. Kenny and Arbane are both dead. Jamt was also seriously injured, reportedly half of his body was shattered. However, to actually want to swallow Fernandro Principality and Cineris Principality, Yang Ye's appetite is really big. He can't even get Fernandro Principality, yet he still wants Cineris Principality. What a greedy guy. After hearing Alan's words, the level 2 warlocks in the hall started to discuss in low voices. The hall was filled with fluctuations of spells. Alan couldn't hear the words of those level 2 warlocks. Blitz said coldly, "Impossible. Fernandro Principality and Cineris Principality, it's impossible to hand them over to you." Alan said with a slight smile, "If Warlock College Antalya's Darren aren't willing to hand over the 2 great principalities to us, then Yang Yi Darren told me that we can only choose to rely on Savage Claw. Presumably, Savage Claw's Darren will support us in taking down the 2 great principalities." Savage Claw. Fuck, if he relies on Savage Claw, then it'll be troublesome. This guy actually wants to rely on Savage Claw, what a bastard. The level 2 warlocks in the hall stared fixedly at Alan, their eyes brimming with anger. Savage Claw was Warlock College Antalya's mortal enemy. Both sides had fought for God knows how many years, with countless warlocks falling at their hands. Both sides were irreconcilable enemies. Now that they heard that Steel Lord Yang Yi actually wanted to rely on Savage Claw, it immediately filled them with anger and killing intent. Blitz's voice at once became extremely cold, with traces of extremely cold killing intent. "Are you threatening me?" Alan said faintly, "No. I'm just stating a possibility, that's all." Chapter 30. Alan respectfully said towards Blitz, I, Alan, was born in Fernandro Principality. Fernandro Principality is my motherland. If I had a choice, I wouldn't want to betray my motherland. Therefore, I desperately asked the mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren, and finally moved him. As long as Fernandro Principality and Cineris Principality's West Wind Sea City were handed over to him, then he would agree to join Warlock College Antalya. Moreover, he would send his only kin to join Warlock College Antalya and cultivate the Warlock path. At the same time, he'll become a great wall of steel protecting Warlock College Antalya. As long as he's there, then Savage Claws experts absolutely won't be able to pass through his territory and attack the Southern States Alliance. This condition isn't bad. Since Yang Yi was able to defeat Fernandro clan, then if he's sincere in relying on Warlock College Antalya, we'll obtain a formidable assistance. No. Fernandro clan is Warlock College Antalya's subsidiary clan. If their clan is destroyed, what will the other clans think? This will shake Warlock College Antalya's rule. Fernandro clan must be preserved. Otherwise, the foundation of Warlock College Antalya's rule will be shaken. In the discussion hall, the Level 2 Warlocks were engaged in an intense discussion. Some Level 2 Warlocks advocated for Yang Yi to join Warlock College Antalya's sphere of influence, while some Level 2 Warlocks were determined to protect Fernandro clan. Blitz pondered for a moment and then said unhurriedly, Fernandro clan has been loyal and devoted to Warlock College Antalya all these years. They haven't made any major mistakes in their work. It's impossible for us to abandon them. West Wind Sea City is Cineris Principality's richest port city. We can't give it to you. Change the condition. 3 great Level 2 Warlocks attacked Black City, yet 2 were killed and 1 returned with serious injuries. They didn't even get to see the Steel Lord. Warlock College Antalya attached great importance to Yang Feng's formidable mechanical legion. Even if it was an iron-blooded person like Blitz, after Yang Feng revealed a trace of intention to rely on him, he also had no choice but to weigh it over and over again. Alan once again took a step back and said, since it's like this, with the current power as the boundary, Fernandro Principality will cede the 3 cities of Golden Sand City, Ironwood City, and Bright Stone City. Moreover, they will compensate us with 300,000 magic stones and 10 bottles of blue mirage potion that can change a practitioner's soul aptitude. Then I can persuade the mighty Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren to accept your conditions and join Warlock College Antalya. Moreover, he can send his only kin to join Warlock College Antalya to cultivate on the Warlock path. He really dares to open his mouth. 10 bottles of blue mirage elixir are enough to promote a superior level 3 spirit aptitude apprentice warlock to intermediate level 4 spirit aptitude. However, although blue mirage is precious, but if we can absorb the Steel Lord into our Warlock College Antalya, then it's still very worthwhile. The Level 2 Warlocks in the meeting hall discussed spiritedly. In the end, the majority of the Level 2 Warlocks agreed to Alan's conditions. We agree to your conditions. Blitz's gaze shifted and fell on an old man with white hair and beard among the Level 2 Warlocks. Uterax, tomorrow bring the contract to Black City and sign the contract with Steel Lord. Uterax respectfully saluted towards Blitz and said, yes. Darren. Black City, Warlock Pagoda's basement, 1st floor. Kacha. On top of the altar, cracks appeared on the eggshell of the unknown life form. Yang Feng's spirit was slightly roused. These days, most of the time he stayed on top of the altar, just like a chick waiting for the life form within the egg to hatch. Now that the life form within the egg finally started to come into being, his heart was brimming with expectations. Yang Feng put his palms together and muttered towards the enormous egg, my requirements aren't high. Since it's something that comes out from inside the taboo stone, then it's basically a lofty existence. I'll be perfectly satisfied with a young of a dragon, phoenix, Cerberus, or any other kind of divine beast. A mythological beast with a cool background. In the Second Warlock Dynasty, those formidable warlocks conquered countless planes and captured a lot of formidable existences to carry out all kinds of taboo experiments. Those puny life forms and secret treasures basically didn't have the qualifications to be sealed by the taboo stone. It was precisely because of this that Yang Feng was so expectant towards the enormous egg. Gotcha! In the midst of Yang Feng's expectations, the enormous egg at once broke open. Curled up inside the enormous egg was a cute little girl of about 6 years old, without a single piece of clothing, with a head of waist-length hair, skin as white as jade, sparkling and translucent like an angel. How could this be? There's no need to play with me like this. Where's the powerful contract beast? Yang Feng opened his eyes wide as he looked at the 6-year-old little girl crawling out of the enormous egg. He wanted to cry but had no tears. Yang Feng originally intended to get a powerful contract beast, then on the warlock path, he would have a huge meat shield and a powerful henchman. Now that a 6-year-old little loli ran out, he wanted to cry but had no tears. That little loli opened her eyes, that pair of bright and clear big eyes firmly stared at Yang Feng. Yang Feng looked at that little loli's pair of pure, clear and beautiful black jewel-like eyes. The vexation in his heart completely disappeared, and instead gave birth to a feeling of tender affection. Forget it. Getting an oriental loli can be considered pretty good. In Tarandit subcontinent, Westerners occupied a mainstream position. Reportedly, in the distant main continent, there were also a lot of Orientals. However, in Tarandit subcontinent, Orientals were still very rare. Those with a cute appearance like this little loli were even more incomparably rare. That little loli gave Yang Feng an adorable sweet smile and extended a pair of snow-white little hands. Yang Feng had a doting expression as he held the adorable little loli in his arms. Once that little loli was held in Yang Feng's bosom, she giggled, then raised her snow-white little hands. A mysterious force gushed out. The fragments of the enormous egg scattered on the altar flew into that little loli's hands. She held those fragments of the enormous egg and continuously gnawed on them. Every time she gnawed on a fragment, that little loli would grow by a fraction. 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, that little loli grew rapidly, very quickly grew into a 13-year-old beautiful young lady with a head full of beautiful long black hair, ample twin peaks and a sexy and alluring figure. Yang Feng looked at that little loli's constant changes, once again confirming that the little loli before him wasn't a human, but rather a kind of other life form. Guji, thank you for hatching me. I like you the most. That beautiful young lady, as if from a fairy tale, threw herself into Yang Feng's bosom and said sweetly. Yang Feng caressed that beautiful young lady's beautiful black hair and said with a smile, "You were hatched from a stone and have snow-white skin. From today onwards, I'll call you Shi Shui." Shi Shui gave Yang Feng a sweet smile and said, Okay. Yang Feng clapped his hands. Before long, a robot holding a black gothic loli dress walked in. After Shi Shui changed into that black gothic loli dress, she at once exuded an astonishing power of charm, making Yang Feng's heart slightly moved, giving him a kind of dazzling feeling. Chapter 31. NR 3796 possessed robot Bonnie and handed a pair of silver glasses to Yang Feng. "Owner, the data analysis glasses you need have been made." Yang Feng put on the silver glasses and silently said in his mind, "Carry out a data analysis on me." Yang Feng, basic attributes, strength 0. 63, agility 0. 74, physique 0. 62, spirit 0. 85, blood meridians, earth's trash. Soul aptitude, inferior level 1. Comprehensive evaluation, classified as a level 0 life form. Evolution potential, small. The silver glasses flashed with radiance and quickly listed a series of text. Yang Feng whispered somewhat gloomily, "Level 0 life form, my strength is really terrible." Adjusting his mood, Yang Feng looked toward Shi Shui sitting beside him and at once launched the scanning ability of the silver glasses and scanned Shi Shui. Shi Shui, basic attributes, strength 1. 5, agility 1. 6, physique 2. 1, spirit 3. 5, blood meridians, insufficient data. According to the analysis of the known data, this life form has a formidable blood meridians. Natural charm. This is her innate talent, making people have a favorable impression of her at first sight. For males, she has a huge attraction. Soul aptitude, superior level 8. Comprehensive evaluation, currently classified as a level 1 life form. This life form has a huge evolution potential. Yang Feng's eyes burst out with a scorching radiance, full of excitement as he thought, superior level 8 soul aptitude. Really too frightening. This is a monster-level cultivation innate talent. My luck really isn't that bad. In Tarandit subcontinent, cultivators with level 7 soul aptitude were as rare as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns, almost rarely seen even in 100 years. Superior level 8 soul aptitude, even if placed in the 8 Great Warlock Imperial Dynasty's eras, it would still be a peak existence, the era's darling. Shi Shui seemed to have sensed Yang Feng scanning her state. She turned her head towards him and sweetly smiled, brimming with charm. Making Yang Feng's heart sway slightly, somewhat unable to control himself. Yang Feng relied on his strong willpower to forcibly move his line of sight away from Shi Shui's body, his heart surging up and down. Not good, the Earth's trash state is really too terrible. If it goes on like this, it absolutely won't do. Otherwise, if a random witch were to cast a charm spell on me, I'm afraid I would become her slave. After Yang Feng obtained the data analysis glasses, he began to practice the most basic cultivation for advancing to an apprentice warlock under Robot Bonnie's guidance, physical tempering. Apprentice warlocks were the lowest level of existence within the warlock system. However, wanting to become an apprentice warlock was absolutely not that simple. Every apprentice warlock's physique must reach the level of a knight rank expert, only then can they start learning the knowledge of an apprentice warlock. Without a strong body, it was impossible to bear the burden of learning such high-intensity warlock knowledge. Moreover, warlocks like blood meridian warlocks, who need to transplant the blood meridians of powerful life forms, without a strong body, they simply can't bear the impact of the blood meridian transplant. Once an ordinary person was transplanted with an overly powerful bloodline, they would basically explode and die. Originally, with Yang Feng's attributes as a good-for-nothing earthling, it was almost impossible for him to promote to a knight rank expert by relying on his own efforts. However, the methods of an official level 1 warlock were extremely terrifying. Every day, Robot Bonnie didn't hesitate to consume a large amount of resources to refine some of the most basic body-strengthening elixirs, slowly improving and strengthening Yang Feng's body, making him progress little by little every day. 3 days later, a huge griffin flew towards Black City. There were 2 people sitting on the griffin. They were precisely the level 2 warlocks Uterax and Alan. Halt your steps, immediately descend from the sky. Otherwise, we'll regard you as an enemy and shoot you to death. A level 4 bladed troop at the city gate raised its head and issued a loud electronically synthesized voice. The muzzles of the anti-aircraft cannons quickly adjusted and started to lock onto the griffin in the sky. Uterax suddenly had a premonition of danger, his eyebrows slightly creased, he pulled the reins and rode the griffin to descend from the sky. Uterax used a critical gaze to size up the level 4 bladed troop guarding the city gate. He quickly found a series of shortcomings of the level 4 bladed troop. These are Steel Lord Yang Ye's mechanical golems. The workmanship is really too crude, the power system is also far inferior to the 6th Dynasty's fine products. The style is also far too different from the 6th Dynasty's mechanical golem legion. The level 4 bladed troop was originally a crude version of Yang Feng's specially simplified robots. In order to pursue output and production speed, the level 4 bladed troop had a lot of shortcomings, but it wasn't a problem for it to crush ordinary people below knight rank, but even dealing with a level 1 apprentice warlock would be very difficult. Alan walked out from behind Uterax and said towards the 8-bladed troop guarding the city gate, "I'm Alan, the envoy of Warlock College Antalya. This is Warlock College Antalya's honorable envoy, the level 2 Warlock Uterax Darren. Please let us in." The level 4 bladed troop pointed towards a passageway covered with all kinds of scanning equipment and said, "I'm very sorry, Alan Darren. Due to the existence of assassins. No matter who it is, they must go through a scan before they can enter Black City. Please come over here and accept the scan." Alan turned around and said with an apologetic expression, "Uterax Darren, I'm very sorry. Due to the fact that not long ago we were at war with Fernandro Principality, we have no choice but to be cautious. Please come with me. Eutirax was somewhat unhappy in his heart, but still slightly nodded and followed Alan into the passageway. Once they entered the passageway, a scanning ripple was immediately emitted from a radar-like instrument, enveloping Alan and Eutirax's bodies and starting to scan them in all aspects. Eutirax, basic attributes, strength 21. 6, agility 21. 9, physique 30. 7, spirit 36. 5, blood meridians, ordinary human blood meridians. Soul aptitude, superior level 5. Comprehensive evaluation, classified as a level 8 life form, level 2 warlock. Eutirax's physical data was quickly transmitted to Yang Feng. Too powerful. Yang Feng looked at Eutirax's data, his eyes flashed with a whiff of shock. Eutirax's physical constitution was several tens of times more than Yang Feng's. Even if Eutirax didn't use any spells, he was still a humanoid monster-like existence. This was the terrifying aspect of a warlock, a level 2 warlock. After receiving the scan, Alan took Eutirax towards the Warlock Pagoda's location. Warlock's Eye. Eutirax cast the level 1 spell Warlock's Eye. A huge eye suddenly appeared above his head and looked in all directions. Chapter 32. This time, Eutirax came to Black City with an important mission, that is to spy on Black City's actual situation. Under the Warlock's Eye's spying, the scene within a radius of several li fell into Eutirax's eyes. At this time, the entire Black City was still in the transformation stage. Every street was built with a permanent defensive fortress. On top of the permanent defensive fortress were 3 anti-aircraft cannons, 3 machine guns, 1 multi-barrel rocket launcher, and 6 12.7mm heavy machine guns. The entire Black City was like an enormous fortress, with all kinds of cannons everywhere. Eutirax's scalp was slightly numb. With Eutirax's strength, a cannon was basically unable to harm him in the slightest. However, if he didn't escape, he would be blasted to pieces by the hundreds and thousands of machine guns firing at the same time. Eutirax observed the entire Black City through the Warlock's eyes, while silently thinking in his heart, if His Excellency the Dean doesn't act, then even if Bloody Hands Blitz-Darren leads a team, it would still be very difficult to take down this Black City. It seems like the Steel Lord indeed obtained a portion of 6th Dynasty's Mechanical Golem Legion's inheritance. After passing through one street after another, Eutirax's duo entered the Warlock Pagoda and directly arrived at the Warlock Pagoda's 3rd floor's main hall. I'm the Steel Lord Yang Yi. Eudora, welcome to our home. Please sit. A liquid metal robot with artificial eyes and human skin draped over it sat on the seat of honor, before lightly smiling towards Eutirax. Beside Yang Yi stood 8 level 7 primary battle robots. They were respectively 4 level 7 bladed troops, 2 level 7 gunner troops and 2 level 7 shield troops. The 8 level 7 battle robots' all-out defense was enough to allow Yang Yi to quickly flee the scene when attacked. The 8 level 7 battle robots were originally 5 to 6 meters tall giant battle robots, but in order to allow them to move freely within the Warlock Pagoda, they were directly shrunk to 3 meters during construction. Thus, their battle prowess was weakened by a lot, but they still had the terrifying strength to kill level 7 life forms. Eutirax directly took out the agreed-upon contract document and handed it to Alan. Hello, Yang Yi. I'm Warlock College Antalia's Eutirax. I'm very happy to meet you. This is the agreed-upon contract document. If there's no problem, then please sign it. Alan stepped forward and handed the contract to Yang Yi. Yang Yi carefully read the contract. After confirming that there were no loopholes, he signed his name on it. Eutirax, what do you think of these 2 mechanical golems? Yang Yi waved his hand, and the 2 level 7 bladed troops immediately walked to the center of the hall. Eutirax carefully looked at the 2 level 7 bladed troops. The 2 level 7 bladed troops weren't in human form, their upper body was in human form, but they had 8 arms, each arm was equipped with an alloy-long blade. Its head had countless insect-like compound eyes, as well as a bloody mouth full of saw teeth. Its lower body was in the shape of a ferocious tiger, and its tail was incomparably sharp, like an incomparably sharp spear. Yang Feng snapped his fingers, the two level 7 bladed troops immediately moved and madly fought. Dang! 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 Incomparably ear-piercing sounds of metal striking each other frantically reverberated in the area. The two level 7 bladed troops were like the most ferocious mechanical battle beasts as they madly fought each other, using every conceivable means, making people dazzled. Such strong mechanical golems! The battle prowess of these two mechanical golems is already comparable to that of a pinnacle level 1 warlock. Eudirax watched the battle between the two level 7 bladed troops, his eyes flashed with a whiff of graveness. After the fierce battle for a dozen seconds, Yang Feng clapped his hands lightly. The two level 7 mechanical bladed troops immediately stopped fighting and stood motionless. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi smiled as he looked at Eudirax. Eudirax said slowly, "Very formidable. The battle prowess of these two mechanical golems is already comparable to that of a pinnacle level 1 warlock." Yang Feng said with a smile, "How about I gift these two mechanical golems to you?" Eudirax pondered for a moment, then said decisively, "All right. However, what do you need me to help you with?" The two mechanical golems with battle prowess comparable to that of a pinnacle level 1 warlock were also very useful to the level 2 warlock Eudirax. These mechanical golems were very convenient to deal with some large numbers of enemies as well as when exploring some dangerous areas. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi gave a slight smile, clapped his hands lightly. Shortly after, his true body unhurriedly walked out from the side. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi pointed towards his true body and said slowly, "This is my only blood relative, Yang Feng. He wants to cultivate on the warlock path, but his talent is too poor. I hope that when he cultivates in Warlock College Antalya, you can take care of him." Yang Feng pressed his right hand on his chest, slightly bowed towards Eudirax in salute and said, "I've seen Eudirax Darren. I'm Yang Feng, Steel Lord Yang Yi Darren's nephew." Eudirax was a genuine level 2 warlock. Moreover, he was a level 2 warlock from Warlock College Antalya. His strength was extremely formidable. Yang Feng wasn't willing to be disrespectful in front of such a formidable warlock. Eudirax turned his head towards Yang Feng and gave him a glance. His eyes at once blossomed with a dark green radiance, completely enveloping Yang Feng. Yang Feng immediately felt his body sink. He was practically unable to breathe, unable to move, unable to think. His entire life fell under Eudirax's control. His entire body trembled violently. A feeling of fear spread from the depths of his heart, spreading towards his limbs and bones. That feeling of fear persisted for a full 10 seconds before disappearing. Yang Feng's entire body was already drenched in sweat. He gasped for breath, his legs trembled incessantly, his eyes flashed with fear. Yang Feng's heart was brimming with fear, so strong. Is this a level 2 warlock? Truly too strong. Worthy of being extraordinary life forms that transcend mortals. Only when truly facing them, can one deeply feel their terror. Eudirax creased his eyebrows. He pondered for a moment before saying unhurriedly, "Yang Yi, your nephew's soul aptitude is only inferior level 1. With such a soul aptitude, even becoming an apprentice warlock would be extremely difficult, let alone becoming an official level 1 warlock. Even if he joined Warlock College Antalya, it would still be very difficult for him to become an official level 1 warlock." Yang Feng's heart sank slightly. Eudirax was an orthodox level 2 warlock from Warlock College Antalya. A level 2 warlock with a formidable inheritance like Eudirax was many times stronger than a level 2 rogue warlock without an inheritance. Now that Eudirax said that it would be extremely difficult for him to become a level 1 warlock, then it would really be extremely difficult. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Ye's voice was deep and full of firmness. "He's my only blood relative, and also my only relative in this world. No matter what price I have to pay, I'll let him become an official level 1 warlock. Blue Mirage can change a person's soul aptitude, then as long as he can promote to a level 1 warlock, no matter how many bottles of Blue Mirage, I'll get them for him." Chapter 33. This youngster shouldn't be Yang Ye's illegitimate child, right? Eudirax shot a somewhat surprised glance at Yang Feng, his heart brimming with curiosity. Eudirax said unhurriedly, "Any elixir has its limits. taking too much of it will produce a resistance. His cultivation aptitude was simply too low. The Blue Mirage potion could only raise his soul aptitude to upper rank 2 at most. Even with our Warlock College Antalia's inheritance, a superior level 2 soul aptitude can at most only be cultivated until level 2 or level 3 apprentice warlock. Moreover, to promote his soul aptitude from inferior level 1 to superior level 2, the amount of Blue Mirage elixir required is at least 50 bottles. Each bottle of Blue Mirage elixir is worth 5,000 magic stones. 50 bottles of Blue Mirage elixir require a total of 250,000 magic stones. A magic stone was equivalent to 100 gold coins, 200,000 copper coins. 250,000 magic stones was equivalent to 50 billion copper coins. Such a huge sum was only enough to promote Yang Feng's soul aptitude from inferior level 1 to superior level 2. The price of promoting soul aptitude could be imagined. It was precisely because of this that even if it was a close relative, if the soul aptitude was too poor, then generally no warlock would let them tread the warlock path. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi said in a deep voice, "Even so, I still won't give up. Eutarax, I hope to be able to obtain some soul aptitude promoting elixir formulas. Can you help me purchase a few of them? I'll pay you an adequate price for them." Eutarax said with a slight smile, "Soul aptitude promoting elixir formulas, every one of them is an extremely precious existence. I only have a soul aptitude promoting elixir formula, Banshee's Tears. But I have to remind you, this Banshee's Tears is an elixir formula passed down from the second Warlock dynasty. Many of its materials are special products of other planes. In the last 1,000 years, no one in our Tyrannid subcontinent has ever successfully concocted this elixir. Even so, this elixir formula, if you want it, then you have to pay me 10,000 magic stones." Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi said resolutely, "I want it. The 10,000 magic stones will be deducted from Fernandro clan's war reparations." In Tyrannid subcontinent, all the knowledge was in the hands of warlock groups. And every knowledge, if an ordinary person wanted to learn it, they had to pay a huge sum of money or the corresponding magic stones. Eutarax opened his hand and a somewhat yellowed piece of paper appeared in his hand. Then, as if grabbed by a mage's hand, it flew into the hand of Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi glanced at that elixir formula, then quickly scanned it into the database and began to deduce and analyze it. Eutarax said with a slight smile, "Yang Yi, I'll do my best to take care of your nephew in Warlock College Antalya." Yang Feng's embodiment of the Steel Lord Yang Yi was a terrifying warlock alchemist capable of easily killing level 2 warlocks. T-Uxt, Yang Yi, embodiment of Uxt, this is Yang Yi, King 2, he is Yang, that, my might. With Yi, Ming T, Yang, Feng, is, Feng, Li, Lude with my, T, said, my nephew, Yang, currently, is, Yi, My nephew, can you give pointers to Yang Yi? Eutarax pondered for a moment, then waved his hand. Shortly after, a secret book appeared in his hand. A wizard's hand grabbed that secret book and directly flew in front of Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi. This is the part of Magic Note's Titan that can be practiced until level 3 Warlock. 7th Warlock Dynasty's Magic Note Dynasty's peerless secret method, it possesses boundless might. Although without the Plane of Giants Titan's blood essence, this secret method will forever be unable to promote to an official warlock. But this Magic Notes Titan's foundation is very good. As long as you are willing to spend resources, then your nephew should be able to promote to a level 1 apprentice warlock within 3 years. There were many formidable secret methods passed down from the 8 great warlock dynasties. However, those formidable secret methods have long since slowly declined along with the changes of the times. Even so, that Magic Notes Titan is still God knows how many times stronger than Zhao Zhang's clan's Thunderox martial art. With Yang Feng's aptitude, cultivating NR 3796S optimized Thunderox, but in his lifetime he would be unable to promote to a knight rank expert. But cultivating Magic Notes Titan, within 3 years he would be able to promote to an apprentice warlock. This is the huge disparity between cultivation methods. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi casually threw magic notes tightened to his true body and said in a deep voice, still not thanking Yutarax Darren. Yang Feng's true body bowed respectfully towards Yutarax and said, thank you, Yutarax Darren. Yutarax, how many magic stones do I need to pay you? Yutarax said with a slight smile, this magic notes titan is too precious. Yutarax said with a slight smile, I promise to help you take care of your nephew. This small gift is nothing. Magic notes titan's might is boundless, even in the 7th Warlock dynasty it was still one of the most pinnacle secret methods. However, in Tyrannid subcontinent, it's basically impossible to obtain the blood essence of a titan, therefore this peerless secret method's value isn't high. My nephew has a little girlfriend, her cultivation talent is very outstanding. I want to ask for a powerful secret method for her. This golem is a small gift from me to you, I hope you'll like it. Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi clapped his hands, a level 7 shield troop walked from his side to the center of the main hall. A level 7 bladed troop's figure moved, it brandished 8 superalloy blades and fiercely chopped at the level 7 shield troop from 8 directions. The level 7 shield troop raised its shield high, a formidable transparent protective cover appeared in a flash blocking in front of it. The level 7 bladed troop's superalloy blades madly chopped at the transparent protective cover, yet it was unable to harm the level 7 shield troop in the slightest. Yutarax looked at the level 7 shield troop's formidable protective cover, his eyes suddenly flashed with a whiff of a peculiar splendor, he looked at the level 7 shield troop with eyes brimming with longing. This is a protective cover with defensive strength comparable to a level 2 defensive spell. No, this protective cover's defensive strength might even reach that of a pinnacle level 2 defensive spell. In the world of warlocks, defensive secret treasures are always much more popular than offensive secret treasures. A mechanical golem with defensive strength comparable to a level 2 spell can even save Yutarax's life in times of need. This is Western Extreme Cold Ice Phoenix method. Passed down from the 7th Warlock dynasty, Magic Note dynasty, it's a peerless secret method most suitable for women to cultivate, it's a secret method I obtained during my travels. However, this secret method is only suitable for cultivation from the foundation to the level 1 Warlock rank. As far as I know, only Savage Claw's level 3 Warlock Ice Blue Young Lady, as well as Snow White Pagoda's Great Warlock Snow White Madam have it. Western Extreme Cold Ice Phoenix method doesn't require a special blood meridians to be cultivated. If your nephew's little girlfriend needs to change her method, then it's not very difficult. You can let her first cultivate this method, then after reaching the level 1 Warlock rank, she can then change her cultivation method. Yutarax thought for a moment, then flipped his hand, a secret book immediately appeared in his hand, then was grabbed by Mage Hand and handed over to Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi. Chapter 34. These days, under Robot Bonnie's guidance, Yang Feng learned a lot of basic knowledge related to warlocks. I seek truth in the darkness, I seek immortality. These were the famous words of the first Warlock dynasty's first Warlock Emperor, the Time Lord. It was also the famous words that countless warlocks regarded as truth. The ultimate goal of warlocks was to obtain immortality. Countless warlocks, in order to obtain immortality, had their footprints spread across countless planes, absorbed the knowledge of countless planes, captured the life forms of countless planes, carried out blood meridian transformation, taboo experiments, soul experiments, mechanical golems manufacturing and so on. Secret methods were cultivation secret methods created by warlocks after absorbing the knowledge of countless planes. Secret methods were divided into 2 types, one was blood meridian secret methods, the other was orthodox secret methods. Blood meridian secret methods were to implant a formidable life form's blood meridians, then cultivate a special secret method, allowing the person's life form to directly transform towards that formidable life form. This was a mature secret method obtained by the 2nd Warlock dynasty after countless advancements, and after creating countless freaks. Before the 2nd Warlock dynasty, basically all warlocks cultivated orthodox secret methods. Different from orthodox secret methods, blood meridian secret methods were extremely powerful, and their cultivation speed was also astonishingly fast. As long as the blood meridians of a formidable life form were transplanted, and they were able to withstand that formidable blood meridian. With the same resources, the cultivation speed of a Blood Meridian warlock who cultivated Blood Meridian's secret methods could be 10 times that of an orthodox warlock. However, cultivating Blood Meridian's secret methods also had their limitations. That was, once a Blood Meridian was chosen, then it would be difficult to change. Moreover, some formidable Blood Meridians also had the potential to evolve. Once the Blood Meridian potential of a formidable life form was exhausted, then if one wanted to take a step forward, then one would be restricted by the Blood Meridians, and it would be very difficult to take a step forward. Orthodox secret methods didn't have that kind of restriction. If a cultivator who cultivated orthodox secret methods was dissatisfied with their cultivation secret method, then they could change to another secret method at any time, or even simultaneously cultivate 2 or 3 secret methods that didn't conflict with each other. Of course, to change the main secret method, one would still have to pay a certain price. Magic Notes Titan was a formidable Blood Meridian secret method. The Western Extreme Ice Phoenix technique was a powerful orthodox secret technique. These 2 secret methods were many times more formidable than the secret methods of Black Cottage. Especially that Western Extreme Cold Ice Phoenix, even though it was only a level 1 warlock's cultivation method, but it was already an inherited secret method of a small warlock clan. As for the secret techniques cultivated by the knights, they were actually a branch of the body-tempering warlock's cultivation. A knight rank expert's physical constitution is equivalent to that of a level 1 apprentice warlock. A Sky Knight's physique was equivalent to that of a level 1 warlock among body-tempering warlocks. Both sides got what they wanted, and after some small talk, they began to exchange the cultivation experiences of warlocks. With Robot Bonnie's memories as a reference, Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi inquired Utarax about a lot of difficulties related to level 1 warlock's cultivation. On one hand, Utarax gave pointers to Yang Ye's issues regarding cultivation as a level 1 warlock. On the other hand, he confirmed that Yang Feng's embodiment of Yang Yi was indeed only at the level of a level 1 warlock. Both sides talked happily, and 2 days later, Utarax left Black City. Dark Warlock Pagoda's 3rd floor, within the master bedroom. Sitting on a sofa draped in white bear fur, Yang Feng's true body heaved a sigh of relief and said unhurriedly, "The war has come to an end for the time being. We have now won a period of peace. We can start the construction of the stronghold now." NR 3796 asked, "May I ask where is the stronghold to be built?" Standing at the side, Robot Bonnie's eyes flashed, 2 rays of light shot out from his eyes and formed a map in the void with Yang Feng's sphere of influence marked on it. Yang Feng said, "Establish a portable fortified stronghold in Giant Stone City. Establish a permanent fortified stronghold in Black City. But Black City's fortified stronghold doesn't need to be built with a matter and energy converter. The matter and energy converter is the most important part of a production base." NR 3796 has a lot of technological creations that transcend this era. But due to the lack of materials, those formidable technological creations are unable to be mass-produced. The matter and energy converter can transform energy into a variety of materials. With this machine, it's possible to mass-produce even more formidable battle robots as well as other technological creations. Currently, the level 1 portable fortified stronghold doesn't lack steel, it doesn't lack energy, the only thing it lacks is dimensional crystals, which can only be manufactured through NR 3796's matter and energy converter. If there's a large matter and energy converter, then it's easy to transform dimensional crystals. Yang Feng intends to build a portable fortified stronghold in case he encounters an existence he can't resist, then he can directly take the portable fortified stronghold and flee. With that large portable fortified stronghold, no matter where he goes, he can quickly stage a comeback. Understood. What's the resource allocation ratio for the construction of the portable fortified stronghold? Once the resource allocation ratio is decided, then if you want to adjust the allocation ratio, then you need to apply and adjust it a month in advance. Yang Feng said, "List the construction time when the resource allocation ratio is 50% or more." The resource allocation ratio is 50%, requires 3,712 days to complete the construction. The resource allocation ratio is 60%, requires 3,421 days to complete the construction. The resource allocation ratio is 70%, requires 3,012 days to complete the construction. The resource allocation ratio is 80%, requires 2,512 days to complete the construction. The resource allocation ratio is 90%, requires 1,900 days to complete the construction. The resource allocation ratio is 10%, requires 1,221 days to complete the construction. 10 years. So long. Yang Feng's eyebrows slightly creased as he said, "If I obtain dimensional crystals, then how many days can I shorten the construction time to?" 20 days. If you can obtain enough dimensional crystals, then I can build the portable fortified stronghold within 20 days. Yang Feng made a decision. Then the resource allocation ratio is 50%. 50% of the resources would be used to build the portable fortified stronghold, and the other 50% would be used by Yang Feng to expand the mechanical legion, while simultaneously promoting the strength of his body. If all the resources were invested in the construction of the portable fortified stronghold, then apart from the existing mechanical legion, he wouldn't be able to manufacture new battle robots. Then if he were to encounter a great warlock rank expert, then his mechanical legion might even be completely destroyed. NR 3796 said, "Yes. I'll immediately start building the portable fortified stronghold in Giant Stone City. When I leave this place to study at Warlock College Antalya, then I'll leave this place to you. No problem. I'll strictly implement the laws laid down by you." Chapter 35. Hunting Tooth Wilderness was the only way for Fernandro Principality, Cineris Principality and Poten Principality to reach Warlock College Antalya. It was part of Cineris Principality's territory. Hunting Tooth Wilderness's climate was very strange. It was basically impossible to grow food. Cineris Principality was also an agriculture-oriented country, therefore, there were only a few large ranches in Hunting Tooth Wilderness. The rest of the places were ungoverned. Countless criminals, villains and scum converged from the three great principalities, forming ferocious bandits in Hunting Tooth Wilderness, threatening the people going to Warlock College Antalya. Whenever those bandits flourished, Warlock College Antalya would dispatch formidable warlocks to wipe them out. But those bandits couldn't be eliminated. Every time a group was eliminated, after a period of time, another group would emerge. It was impossible to eliminate them all. Those bandits were all desperados. They were extremely ferocious. Every year, many people from the three great principalities would die tragically at their hands on the way to Warlock College Antalya. Therefore, in the eyes of mortals, Hunting Tooth Wilderness was an extremely dangerous place. On a main road in Hunting Tooth Wilderness, an incomparably huge convoy was slowly moving forward. There were a total of more than 500 carriages in that convoy. Each carriage had been modified, it was fast and long, and it was stuffed full of goods. There were also more than 2,000 guards in that convoy. "Stop!" A voice reverberated in that convoy. The huge convoy at once stopped moving. Chefs very skillfully got down from the carriages, took out a variety of tools and started cooking. The door of a modified luxurious carriage opened. Yang Feng got down from inside. Shi Shui, who was like a fairy, also jumped down from the carriage. Like a small tail, she closely followed behind him. A small practice field covered with all kinds of weapons had already been set up. Yang Feng strode into the small practice field. Inside the small practice field, there were already 4 expressionless robots waiting with clubs in their hands. "Come!" Yang Feng walked to the center of the small practice field, took a deep breath, operated magic notes tighten. His whole body's muscles at once tightened, at once swelled up, slightly expanding by a circle. The 4 expressionless robots immediately held clubs in their hands and fiercely whipped Yang Feng from different directions. Magic Notes Titan was a kind of formidable secret method to imitate giants. Its core cultivation philosophy was to treat the cultivator as a piece of fine iron, after going through countless tempering and hammering, to stimulate the human body's potential, tempering it into steel. Under the countless wooden clubs hammering, Yang Feng only felt bursts of pain coming from his body, but when he operated Magic Notes Titan, that pain would turn into a warm current flowing within his body. After the 5 minutes of hammering ended, The badly battered Yang Feng quickly took out an elixir restoration water worth 20 gold coins and immediately drank it. That restoration water entered Yang Feng's dragon Yang Feng's body and immediately started healing. Restoration water entered Yang Feng's king and sect's Yang. If he didn't have the help of healing water, then after being hammered, Yang Feng would need to rest for 30 days to recover his body. Moreover, if he was the slightest bit careless, then he could leave behind internal injuries while practicing cultivation. Zhao Jiang clan, such a small aristocratic clan, doesn't even have 500 gold coins in their savings. It's even more impossible for ordinary people to use a 20 gold coins bottle of restoration water. So comfortable. After cultivation, my whole body feels relaxed and full of vigor. It's simply incomparable to my previous sub-health state. No wonder there are so many cultivation madmen in this world. This kind of cultivation is really addictive. Yang Feng's whole body felt relaxed and warm, extremely comfortable. He squinted his eyes and at once started to scan his state. Yang Feng, basic attributes, strength 0. 73, agility 0. 84, physique 0. 72, spirit 0. 9, blood meridians, earth's waste. Soul aptitude, inferior level 1. General evaluation, classified as a level 0 life form. Evolution potential, small. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a whiff of excitement, apart from spirit force increasing by 0. 0.5, all other attributes increased by 0. 1. Magic Notes Titan really deserves its reputation. These past few days, Yang Feng had always been cultivating Magic Notes Titan. 10 days of time made all his attributes increase by 0. 1. This means that his body's constitution, in this short 10 days, had increased by close to 20%. Although he was still a waste, but it also made him feel the benefits of cultivation. Yang Feng looked at Shi Shui beside him, his eyes flashed with a whiff of jealousy. He launched the scan. Unfortunately, compared to her, my progress is trash. Superior level 8 soul aptitude is really abnormal. Shi Shui, basic attributes, strength 2. 5, agility 2. 6, physique 3. 1, spirit 4. 5. Blood meridians, insufficient data in the database. According to the analysis of the known data, the life form possesses formidable blood meridians. Natural charm. This is her innate talent, making people have a favorable impression of her at first sight. It has an enormous attraction towards males. Soul aptitude, superior level 8. General evaluation, currently classified as a level 3 life form. The life form possesses enormous evolution potential. Within these 10 days, Yang Feng bitterly cultivated Magic Notes Titan, all his attributes only increased by 0. 1, but Shi Shui increased by 1. 0, the difference between the two's cultivation speed was more than 10 times. One must know that the further along the path of cultivation, the slower the cultivation speed would be. A strength increase of 1. 5 by 0. 1 was much harder than a strength increase of 0. 6 by 0. 1, Shi Shui didn't use any treasures of heaven and earth, she merely relied on cultivating Western extreme cold mysterious ice method to increase all her attributes by 1. 0 within 10 days. This kind of cultivation speed made Yang Feng, who had drunk God knows how much restoration water, feel somewhat jealous. Shi Shui merrily clapped her hands and said, "Too awesome. Gidge. To actually be able to withstand a blow from a stick, truly too awesome." Yang Feng brazenly laughed heartily, "Haha. That's only natural. A great beauty with a head full of golden hair, a height of 1.75 meters, a slender body, a voluptuous and sexy figure, a pair of huge breasts nearly bursting out of her clothes, dressed in a maid's attire, with a touch of fragrance, coquettishly walked in front of Yang Feng and said softly, 'Lord, lunch is ready.'" This great beauty with golden hair and huge breasts was Giantstone City's White Cat and Hat Hotel's top beauty sissy. She was also Zhao Zhang's unforgettable dream lover before his death. After Yang Feng seized Giant Stone City, he slaughtered Sissy's original owner, a viscount, and conveniently seized her to serve as a maid. What a pity! The smell of travel is too strong, her skin is rough, her makeup is too thick. Sure enough, genuine stunning beauties are all warlocks or apprentice warlocks. Yang Feng glanced at the great beauty Sissy, his eyes flashed with a touch of regret. Sissy, who had gone through meticulous makeup, looked very beautiful, but if one looked carefully, one would discover that her skin's pores were thick, completely different from that snow-white silk-like Shushua. Moreover, once the makeup was removed, Sissy's beauty would be greatly reduced, she would only be considered as an ordinary beauty. The only thing she could be proud of was her voluptuous and sexy figure. Currently she was number one among Yang Feng's group of maids. Chapter 36. The yellow rosewood round table was covered with a layer of snow-white tablecloth, the dining table was covered with fine porcelain imported from the eastern continent. Fragrant roasted oysters, black pepper veal, salt and pepper beef tongue, oxtail soup, cheese-baked lobster, one after another delicious and luxurious dishes were placed on the snow-white porcelain, exuding an alluring fragrance. Yang Feng used his chopsticks to pick up a piece of black pepper veal and took a bite. The plump gravy and the fresh fragrance melted in his mouth, immediately filling his mouth. Yang Feng praised a chef with satisfaction, "Not bad. Lute, your culinary skills are really good." Lute bowed slightly in salute and said, "My lord, I'm honored by your praise." The top chefs within Black City's sphere of influence had already been recruited by Yang Feng and were specifically in charge of his meals. This Lute was one of them. "I've finally lived the life of an aristocrat." Yang Feng looked at the beautiful maids surrounding him and the top dishes on the dining table, revealing a trace of satisfaction. With the forces under Yang Feng's control, it was enough to establish a small principality. Moreover, in that small principality, he was the only aristocrat, all the wealth was completely under his control. It could be said that his wealth could rival that of a state. Because the majority of the members of Yang Feng's forces were robots. Robots didn't need to be paid, as long as they were supplied with sufficient energy, they would work hard without any complaints and without any mistakes. Therefore, he saved a lot of expenses in terms of salary. It could be said that the majority of the territory's income was pure income, which allowed him to live a luxurious life comparable to that of a marquis. The oysters, veal, lobster, ox tongue, oxtail and other ingredients were all placed in level 0 secret treasures refined by warlock alchemists and specifically used to maintain the freshness of the ingredients. Just maintaining the freshness of the ingredients required the consumption of 1 magic stone per day. Ordinary aristocrats would go bankrupt after eating a few meals. After Yang Feng finished his lunch, he took the fragrant and slightly moist snow-white hot towel from Qianqian and wiped his mouth. He slowly got up and looked into the distance, saying in a low voice, "They should have arrived." Yang Feng's words had just fallen, when more than a dozen youngsters dressed in gorgeous aristocratic attire appeared from the southern part of the wasteland. Behind those dozen youngsters were more than 200 mounted bandits in hot pursuit. The leader of the group was a slightly plump nobleman with blue hair. He screamed in horror, "Help! Help me! I am the son of Warlock College Antalia's level 1 Warlock Abel. Save me! I will pay you accordingly. Help! Please save us!" The dozen or so young men and women dressed in luxurious noble attire also screamed loudly. Yang Feng waved his hand, 200 level, for mechanical bladed troops with an appearance almost identical to humans quickly stepped forward and received the dozen youngsters dressed in gorgeous aristocratic attire. Among the 200-plus mounted gangsters that were hot on their heels, a leader raised his hand, and the 200 mounted gangsters stopped their charge. An ominous glint flashed across the leader's eyes as he threatened coldly, "I am the leader of the Storm Wolves, Bard. Those people are my prey. Hand them over and I'll let this matter rest. Otherwise, all of you can forget about walking out of this hunting tooth wilderness." Yang Feng glanced at the leader of the bandits and immediately launched the glasses scanning function. Bard, basic attributes, strength 5. 1, agility 5. 7, physique 6. 2. Spirit 4. 3. Blood meridians, human. Spirit aptitude, inferior level 3. General evaluation, classified as a level 5 life form. Evolution potential, small. Yang Feng gave a faint smile and waved his hand. A trifling great knight actually dares to spout such nonsense. Go, kill them all. The 200 level for mechanical bladed troops wielding alloy blades directly rushed towards the 200 bandits. An aristocratic youngster's complexion changed slightly. He whispered towards the level 1 warlock Abel's son, "Shit. Gars, this guy is too stupid. He's actually using infantry to rush at cavalry. That's sending his subordinates to their deaths. We should run away." Gars also whispered, "I also think that he's very stupid. Tell the others to get ready to run away. After the caravan is defeated, we'll take advantage of the chaos to escape." Using an infantry charge against a cavalry charge was simply sending the infantry to their deaths. In Tyrannid subcontinent, infantry could only form a pike phalanx, only then could they contend against cavalry. Furthermore, only those most elite and valiant soldiers who weren't afraid of death could form a pike phalanx to contend against cavalry. Otherwise, when infantry met cavalry in the field, they would basically be the ones being massacred. The more than a dozen aristocratic youngsters who were lucky enough to escape, their originally relaxed hearts once again became tense. They looked at Yang Feng as if they were looking at an idiot. The best way to deal with the more than 2,000 guards of the caravan against the 200 valiant cavalry was to form a formation with carriages, then use bows and crossbows to defend. Only the stupidest commander would issue an order to have infantry charge at cavalry. Bard's eyes flashed with a whiff of contempt. He pointed at Yang Feng with his zanbato and shouted, "Idiot! Charge with me! Whoever cuts off that idiot's head, the women and goods inside will be his to choose." When the bandits heard Bard's words, they all shouted excitedly. They clenched their scimitars, loudly shouted unclear words and extremely ferociously charged at the 200 level for mechanical bladed troops. Very soon, the Storm Wolves cavalry regiment fiercely collided with Yang Feng's mechanical bladed troops. A Storm Wolves warrior laughed malevolently. He brandished his zanbato and, with the help of the horse's charge, fiercely chopped at a level for mechanical bladed troop. Once the cavalry launched a charge, with the help of the charge, they could even behead a knight rank expert. The Storm Wolves warrior seemed to have already seen the scene of the level for mechanical bladed troop being chopped in two by his blade. The level for mechanical bladed troop was expressionless. It only mechanically brandished the 2-meter-long alloy blade in its hands and chopped at the Storm Wolves warrior. In the next moment, a scorching hot blood sprayed out. The Storm Wolves warrior along with his horse was chopped in two by the level for mechanical bladed troop. Blood and viscera splashed all over the level for mechanical bladed troop. Practically at the same time, countless amounts of blood splashed on the battlefield. The Storm Wolves cavalrymen along with their horses were chopped in two, their corpses scattered on the ground. It was like hell. An aristocratic young lady's complexion was pale, her stomach was in turmoil. She almost vomited and said in a low voice, "So terrifying. They're all knight rank experts. How could there be so many knight rank experts?" Chapter 37. Every knight level expert was not that easy to recruit. A knight rank expert's monthly salary was generally 20 gold coins or more. That's 240 gold coins or more for a year. 200 knight rank experts, that's 48,000 gold coins for a year's salary. If the various equipment of the knight rank experts were added, then the amount of gold coins needed would be even more terrifying. Only a royal family like Fernandro Principality was able to recruit 200 knight level experts. Gar's eyes flashed with a whiff of astonishment as he exclaimed, "Knight? How could there be such a strong knight expert? Could it be that they're all great knights? Otherwise, how could they resist the assault of those bandits?" Under the astonished gazes of the young aristocratic men and women, the 200 level for bladed troops practically beheaded all the bandits, leaving only the bandit leader Bud, who possessed a great knight rank cultivation base. Even though the bladed troops were modified and simplified versions, but they still weren't existences that ordinary humans could defeat. Impossible! What kind of freaks are you? What kind of freaks are you? Bud brandished his blade and sent a level for bladed troop flying. He saw the 200 level for bladed troops surrounding him and his eyes flashed with a whiff of despair as he roared loudly. 200 level for bladed troops could chop Bud into pieces. Even an Earth Knight rank expert wouldn't be able to resist the encirclement of 200 level for bladed troops. Yang Feng swept Bud with a glance and said faintly, "Surrender. I just happen to lack a great knight slave. I'll give you 3 seconds to consider. If you don't surrender, then die." Bud tightly grasped the Zanbato in his hands, clenched his teeth and said loudly, "If Darren can promise not to sell me to warlocks for human experimentation, then I'll surrender. Moreover, I'm willing to serve Darren. Otherwise, Darren, you'd better just kill me." Great Knight rank slaves were still very easy to sell in the slave market. Some warlocks carried out all kinds of human experimentation. One of the materials they needed were Knight rank experts and above. A lot of great knights who were reduced to slaves during wars, once they fell into the hands of warlocks, their fates would be very miserable. "Take this headband and collar. As long as you're honest and become my slave, then I won't sell you to warlocks." Yang Feng waved his hand. A bladed troop took a headband and collar and walked towards Bud. "Yes, my lord." After Bart saw the headband and the necklace, his expression changed slightly. He hesitated for a long time, but in the end, he let out a long sigh, threw away the Zamadeo in his hand, and put on the headband and the necklace. Yang Feng said lightly, "These 2 things are secret treasures refined by the Steel Lord. Once you have any ill intentions towards me, it will explode and blow you to pieces. You're on your own." Bard's expression changed several times. Finally, he obediently said, "Yes, my lord. I understand now." In addition to the Mechanical Legion, Yang Feng still needed to continuously expand his forces in Tyrandot subcontinent. A Grand Knight like Bard could be considered an elite talent, and there were only benefits to recruiting him. The Steel Lord's mechanical puppet army is really powerful. Gars praised sincerely, then went before Yang Feng and said, "I'm Warlock College Antalia's level 1 Warlock Abel's son, Gars. You have the Steel Lord's mechanical golem legion protecting you. May I ask if you're the Steel Lord's only kin, Yang Feng?" Yang Feng said with a light smile, "That's right, I am Yang Feng." Gars said, "Many thanks for your help." Yang Feng swept those young aristocratic boys and girls with a glance, his eyes flashing with a whiff of a peculiar glint. "It's nothing. Moreover, if I'm not mistaken, we should soon be classmates." Warlock College Antalya would recruit students once a year. Moreover, the age limit of the recruited students was between 14 and 18 years old. The majority of the students that would go to Warlock College Antalya would participate in Warlock College Antalya's examination after reaching the age of 14, and then join Warlock College Antalya. Therefore, the dozen or so aristocratic boys and girls standing in front of Yang Feng were basically all around 14 years old. The leader, Gars, was relatively older. He was also only 16 years old. Yang Feng was already in his 20s, standing among those around 14 years old boys and girls. He had the feeling of a crane among a flock of chickens. Gars introduced the dozen or so young boys and girls standing beside him to Yang Feng. The majority of those dozen or so young boys and girls were aristocrats from Poten Principality. These aristocratic boys and girls had originally hired a large mercenary group. Moreover, they had a combined private army of more than 100 people. Just regarding knight rank experts, they had hired 5 of them. Only, a traitor had appeared in that large mercenary group. Under a pincer attack from both inside and outside, that large mercenary group had completely collapsed. The combined private army was also wiped out by the Storm Wolves bandit group. Only these dozen or so aristocratic boys and girls had escaped. Shi Shui came out of the camp with a whiff of a fragrant wind and walked to Yang Feng's side. As soon as Shi Shui appeared, Gars and his entourage, regardless of whether they were men or women, their gazes were firmly attracted by her. Not only was she astonishingly beautiful, but she also possessed an innate natural charm, causing her attraction towards men to become even more astonishing. Although Yang Feng was together with her day and night, but he still didn't dare to look at her. Otherwise, with his mortal body, he would have long since sunk into her charm, unable to extricate himself. Gars looked at Shi Shui, his eyes flashing with a whiff of infatuation as he said, "Yang Feng, may I ask if you can introduce me to this beautiful lady as beautiful as the moon?" Shi Shui's eyes swiveled, she said with a sweet smile, "Hello, I'm Yang Feng Gija's younger sister Shi Shui, I'm very happy to meet you." When those aristocratic boys and girls saw Shi Shui's beautiful smile that could kill both men and women, their minds swayed. Regardless of men or women, under Shi Shui's natural charm, they had a favorable impression of her. In the sky, on the back of a giant eagle, there was a short and small eagle trainer scout controlling the giant eagle to fly into the distance. "Let's have a bit more. Use your flesh and blood to establish Steel City's prestige." Yang Feng suddenly raised his head, looked at the giant eagle in the distance and said in a low voice. High up in the clouds, there was a miniature satellite suspended in the air. That miniature satellite was suspended above Yang Feng, monitoring in all directions. The giant eagle flew all the way, before finally landing in a huge camp that stretched for more than a dozen kilometers, before heading towards the camp's largest tent. In the largest tent's main seat, there was a tall and sturdy middle-aged man with a face full of scars, a pair of blue pupils, exuding a fierce aura. This tall and sturdy middle-aged man with a pair of blue pupils was Hunting Fang's Wilderness's most ferocious and most formidable bandit chief, Thousand Slayer Gria. He was also Hunting Fang's Wilderness's only Sky Knight with battle prowess comparable to that of a level 1 warlock. The number of bandits and caravan guards that died at Gria's hands exceeded 1,000. It was precisely through countless killings that he became Hunting Fang's Wilderness's most terrifying overlord. 200 knight-rank mechanical golems. Furthermore, he still has 2,000 guards. In other words, he has 2,000 knight-rank mechanical golem guards. After listening to the Eagle Trainer Scout's report, Gria's complexion became gloomy and he said slowly. Chapter 38. 2,000 knight-rank mechanical golems, it's not something we can handle. Moreover, I also don't want to provoke Steel Lord, such a fierce person who can even kill level 2 warlocks. You, please go back. Gria turned around and looked at the person standing in the corner covered in a black robe, whose face couldn't be seen clearly, and said coldly. Snake Demon's Eye, White Bear's Fong and Fernandro clan's 3 great level 2 warlocks joined hands and went to Black City to hunt Steel Lord, resulting in 2 dead and 1 heavily injured. This heavyweight news had already spread to almost all of Tyrandit subcontinent's great forces. Level 2 warlocks, as long as a clan had a level 2 warlock overseeing it, then they would have the qualifications to establish a small principality. Even in Warlock College Antalya and the other 6 great forces, level 2 warlocks were also important members of the Senate, the Upper Council and the Elder Group. For Steel Lord to be able to kill 2 great level 2 warlocks, no matter what means he used, it was enough to rank him among Tyrandit subcontinent's peak experts. No one was willing to provoke such an expert for no reason. Yang Feng hadn't encountered any trouble all along the way because of the 2,000 bladed troops. Any force that wanted to deal with Yang Feng who had 2,000 bladed troops would have to think thrice. That black-robed person said in a hoarse voice, "A bottle of dragon blood elixir. As long as you obey my orders, then I'll give you a bottle of dragon blood elixir. With that bottle of dragon blood elixir, you'll have hope of breaking through the bottleneck and promoting to a firmament knight." Dragon blood elixir. Gria's eyes flashed with a touch of greed and excitement. Dragon blood elixir required level 3 or above warlocks with high attainments in pharmaceutics to be able to refine it. Moreover, one of the main ingredients of dragon blood elixir was dragon blood. Adult dragons were not only rare, but also possessed strength and wisdom that didn't lose out to great warlocks. It was extremely difficult to slay a dragon. Dragon blood elixir was naturally very rare. A bottle of dragon blood elixir's effect was also very astonishing. It could increase the probability of promoting to a firmament knight by 20%. Without dragon blood elixir, it was practically impossible for a sky knight like Gria to successfully promote to a firmament knight. Gria suppressed the excitement in his heart and said in a deep voice, "Dragon blood potion, I want to test the goods first." The black-robed man took out a bottle of blood-red potion and opened a small hole in it. A tiny dragon-shaped phantom flew out of the potion bottle, exuding traces of dragon might. Griya took a deep breath and regained his composure. He frowned and said, "It is indeed the dragon blood potion." However, the Lord of Steel had 2,000 Knight-class mechanical golem guards by his side. Even if all of us from the Cracked Tooth Wasteland were to attack him together, we still wouldn't be his match. Griya was a powerhouse at the pinnacle of the Sky Knight level. Even if there were 100 mechanical puppets, he was confident that he could kill them all for 7 rounds. However, against 2,000 Knight-class mechanical golems, he would only be throwing his life away if he rushed in. Even if all the bandits in the Hunting Fangs Wilderness were to attack together, they would only end up dead if they were to face 2,000 Knight-level mechanical golems. The black-robed man said in a hoarse voice, "No problem. As long as I can draw away most of his guards, I can kill him. After killing him, this bottle of dragon blood potion will be yours." With this bottle of dragon blood potion, once you promote to a Firmament Knight, you won't need to stay in such a damned place like the Hunting Fangs Wilderness. Griya's eyes flashed with a touch of a peculiar light as he said in a low voice, "That's right, as long as I promote to a Firmament Knight. I won't need to stay in such a damned place like the Hunting Fangs Wilderness." Firmament Knights were formidable existences capable of contending with level 2 warlocks. No matter where they went, they would be solicited by various great forces. Firmament Knights could casually go to any principality and become that principality's state knight, enjoying endless glory, splendor and wealth. The disparity in status and enjoyment between a bandit leader of the Hunting Fangs Wilderness and a principality's state knight couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. Griya said resolutely, "I promise you. My subordinates are at your disposal." Finally made a move. How interesting, it seems that the Hunting Fangs Wilderness will have a lot more nourishment. Yang Feng suddenly raised his head and looked into the distance, revealing a cold smile. Gars asked somewhat curiously, "Big brother Yang Feng, did something happen?" Yang Feng gave a slight smile and walked outside. "Let's go. Come with me to watch a good show." Gars and the other aristocratic youngsters followed Yang Feng outside in confusion. At this time, outside the camp, one after another bandit troops rushed over from all directions. The densely packed bandits appeared to be boundless, extremely terrifying. Gars looked at the densely packed bandits, his legs almost went soft from fear and he cried out involuntarily, "Bandits! How could there be so many bandits? Could it be that all of the bandits in the Hunting Fangs Wilderness have come?" The rest of the aristocratic youngsters also looked at the countless bandits with pale complexions, their bodies trembling in extreme fear. More than 10,000 people blotted out the sky. All of the bandits in the Hunting Fangs Wilderness had already been gathered together by that mysterious black-robed man. Their numbers already exceeded 10,000 people. Although the Hunting Fangs Wilderness belonged to the Cineris Principality, but it was still the common border between the 3 principalities. All kinds of vicious criminals from the 3 grand principalities would escape into this wilderness, forming one bandit group after another. This time, practically all of the bandits in the Hunting Fangs Wilderness had been gathered by that black-robed man, forming this terrifying force. From the middle of the densely packed bandits, Griya rode a pure black demonic wildebeest out of the crowd, coldly staring at Yang Feng's party and said in a loud voice, "I'm Griya, the leader of the 1,000 Kills group. Steel Lord's nephew Yang Feng requests you to come with us. Our master wants to see you. We'll protect your safety." Gar's complexion suddenly changed greatly, his voice somewhat trembling as he said, "1,000 Kills group's leader Griya, that's the 1,000 Executioner Griya. He's a pinnacle Sky Knight expert. A man who had once escaped from the pursuit of 2 official level 1 warlocks. Hunting Fangs Wilderness most savage hunter. Shit. This time we're in big trouble." The rest of the aristocratic youngsters' eyes revealed traces of fear. Even in such a large principality like Fernandro Principality, there was only a single Sky Knight such an expert. That was a formidable existence that could match level 1 warlocks. A Sky Knight could easily slaughter an elite team of 100 people. Such a powerhouse was definitely not an existence that they could resist. Yang Feng gave a cold smile and said, "Sky Knight? Griya, if you kneel down and surrender now, I'll still give you a way out." Otherwise, this place will be the burial ground of you and your subordinates. Gria, what's the point of talking so much nonsense with such a waste? Charge, kill him. A tall and sturdy bald man with a height of up to 2 meters flashed with a touch of ruthlessness, his hand holding a huge scimitar pointed at Yang Feng and roared loudly. Chapter 39. That bald man pointed, all dressed in red and holding a zanbato, the whole body emitting a valiant aura of bandits roared as they savagely charged towards Yang Feng's caravan. That bald man moved, the bandits from different forces also spurred their horses and charged towards Yang Feng under the command of their leaders. Kill him. Whoever can get his severed head, I'll reward him with 3,000 gold coins. Kill him. Whoever can kill him and bring his severed head, I'll reward him with 1,000 gold coins. The leaders of the bandits roared loudly, offering sky-high rewards one after another, which stimulated the scum under their command, causing them to shout excitedly. 1 gold coin can be exchanged for 2,000 copper coins. 1,000 gold coins can be exchanged for 2 million copper coins. A lot of lesser aristocratic families don't even have 1,000 gold coins in their liquid funds. 1,000 gold coins can let those bandits directly retire and live a wealthy life in their later years. Gars and the other aristocratic youngsters looked at the overwhelming number of bandits rushing towards them, their bodies trembling, their eyes flashing with a whiff of fear. Within Tarandit subcontinent, aristocrats are basically descendants of warlocks, moreover, their culture is martial. A lot of aristocratic families have inherited knight-rank cultivation methods. Gars and the other aristocratic youngsters have also received martial training, a lot of them have the standard of a low-level warrior. But seeing the overwhelming number of bandits, their hearts are still extremely shocked and fearful. Yang Feng said coldly, "Kill them all, there's no need to deliberately keep captives." The 1,000 bladed troops were expressionless, marching in uniform steps towards the horse bandits. That large number of bandits very quickly fiercely collided with the 1,000 bladed troops. The next moment, countless limbs splashed, hundreds and thousands of bandits along with their horses were chopped in two by the mechanical bladed troops holding alloy battle blades. The bandits that had already launched their assault couldn't dodge in time, still advancing wave upon wave towards the bladed troops, before being directly chopped into two by the expressionless bladed troops, like pigs and dogs that had voluntarily delivered themselves to the slaughter. When the bandits in the back saw the hellish scene, they were scared silly, and quickly scattered in all directions. The 1,000 bladed troops at once exerted their strength, adjusted the engine power output to the maximum, and charged towards the bandits at a speed surpassing that of horses. Brandishing their alloy blades, they chopped the bandits in two one after another. Garland praised from the bottom of his heart, such a powerful mechanical marionette. The reputation of Steel City's mechanical golem legion is truly well-deserved. The more than 10,000 bandits were unexpectedly chased by merely 1,000 bladed troops, it was simply inconceivable. Even a knight-level expert would find it difficult to catch up with a horse bandit. However, those bladed troops easily chased after those bandits, and then chopped them into two with a single slash. This kind of battle prowess was simply terrifying. Incomparably shrill cries reverberated throughout the Hunting Tooth wasteland. Every second, hundreds and thousands of bandits would be chopped into two. Fresh blood dyed the wasteland red. "Save me! Save me!" After the bald-headed bandit leader with the cultivation of an Earth Knight killed several of his subordinates in a row and spurred his horse to escape from the encirclement of the bladed troops, he suddenly saw 128 bladed troops encircling him. He was scared out of his wits and screamed loudly. The 128 bladed troops' gazes turned cold and detached, and they immediately pounced towards the bald-headed bandit. The 12 bladed troops immediately jumped high, and jumped above the mounted bandit bald man. "I'll fight you!" The bald-headed bandit gave an angry roar. In a split second he stimulated his body's full potential. The zanbato in his hand continuously chopped 30 times, crazily chopping at the bladed troops. The 8 bladed troops were chopped into more than a dozen parts in a split second. At the same time, the more than a dozen alloy blades completely sealed off the bald-headed bandit's space to dodge, and instantly chopped him into countless pieces. Bud looked at this scene from afar, his scalp somewhat numb, his heart brimming with joy. 100-Man Slayer Mark is also dead. These mechanical golems are so strong. 100-Man Slayer Mark was the most powerful bandit in the Hunting Tooth Wilderness. He was also one of the few Earth Knights. His battle prowess was second only to Griya. His most famous battle was when he killed more than 100 enemies by himself, obtaining the fierce name of 100-Man Slayer. Now, one of the most powerful bandit leaders, unexpectedly only killed more than a dozen bladed troops before being dismembered. Bud had a new understanding of the Mechanical Legion's strength. In fact, the more the Mechanical Legion, the stronger their battle prowess. In a one-on-one fight, a bladed troop and a knight rank expert would have a 50-50 chance of winning. However, 100 bladed troops against 100 knight rank warriors, the 100 bladed troops could completely crush the 100 knight rank warriors. That's because the bladed troops have a tacit understanding with each other. Moreover, they're not afraid of death, their body's defense is strong, their vital points are few and small, they can completely fight with their lives. Human knight rank warriors don't have this kind of ability. A large number of bandits were killed by the bladed troops, and without turning their heads, they spurred their horses to flee this hell-like battlefield. The remaining bandits also found out that they were tricked. One after another they hesitated and hesitated. Suddenly, 200 m behind Yang Feng, in the underbrush, the space slightly distorted, a person wrapped in a black POW suddenly appeared there, pointed at Yang Feng. A level 1 fireball was immediately shot towards Yang Feng. The level 1 spell fireball's might was extremely terrifying. Even if it was a Sky Knight rank expert, that level 1 fireball would directly hit them, only death awaited them. For a mortal like Yang Feng, as long as that fireball touched any part of his body, he would instantly be burned to death. At this critical juncture, 2 level 5 shield troops standing beside Yang Feng raised the shields in their hands. The shields flashed with a slight radiance, 2 transparent protective covers suddenly shrouded in front of Yang Feng. Boom! The level 1 fireball instantly exploded. The explosion set off traces of ripples on the 2 transparent protective covers. Gars looked at the person dressed in a black POW and shouted with some alarm, "Invisibility! Fireball! That's a warlock! An official warlock!" The rest of the aristocratic youngsters also revealed traces of alarm in their eyes. An official level 1 warlock in Tyrannid subcontinent, as long as it's not a place like Warlock College Antalya where warlocks converge, then they're definitely a bigwig. A level 1 warlock can casually kill a mortal like Gars. If not for the 2 level 5 shield troops protection, then that level 1 fireball would have already blown Yang Feng to pieces. Chapter 40. Kill him. Yang Feng's eyebrows creased slightly. He pointed towards the man dressed in a black POW and said coldly. The 400 bladed troops' engines were instantly adjusted to the highest level, with a terrifying speed surpassing that of a galloping horse. They rushed towards the man dressed in a black POW. Dark mist. The man dressed in a black POW took out a black staff. He launched the staff spell. A black mist suddenly appeared, at once completely shrouding Yang Feng and the others. Haste! A magic radiance shone on the man dressed in a black POW. He tapped his foot. His body instantly shot backwards, with a speed far surpassing that of the bladed troops. He fled into the distance. Start the infrared scanning system, start the thermal imaging system, start the sound wave detection system. The bladed troops quickly launched the scanning system. Their electronic cigarettes surged with countless streams of data. A gust of wind blew past. The Sky Knight Griya instantly erupted with his fastest speed. With a terrifying speed of up to 180 km per hour, he shot towards Yang Feng's location, leaving behind a trail of afterimages. Sky Knights, just like official level 1 warlocks, broke through the limits of humans and began to evolve towards extraordinary life forms. Griya's full eruption of speed could reach up to 180 km per hour. However, such a terrifying eruption of speed, he could only maintain it for 1 minute. Under that terrifying eruption of speed, Griya only needed 2 seconds to cross a distance of 100 m and appear in front of Yang Feng. He only needed a single sword strike to behead the mortal Yang Feng. Boom! Along with a loud sound, an enormous crate beside Yang Feng suddenly burst open. Amidst the flying countless pieces of wood, a level 7 bladed troop suddenly erupted. With lightning speed, it instantly pounced towards Griya. The alloy battle blade in its hand also fiercely chopped towards Griya from different directions. Fuck! What kind of freak is this? Griya's complexion suddenly changed greatly. In a flash, a formidable life force erupted. He brandished the enchanted blades in his hands and unleashed the martial skill Bloody Cross Slash, a bright and sharp bloody cross slash radiance with a tyrannical aura fiercely chopped at the level 7 bladed troop. The level 7 bladed troop's chest flashed with a radiance. A level 1 protective cover instantly enveloped its body. It was expressionless, letting the bloody cross slash hit its protective cover. The bloody cross slash broke open the level 7 bladed troop's protective cover, and fiercely chopped at the level 7 bladed troop, leaving behind a 3 cm deep blade mark. Almost at the same time, the level 7 bladed troop brandished its alloy saber and chopped, instantly chopping Griya's lower body into 8 pieces. When the black-robed man saw Griya die miserably in the hands of the level 7 bladed troop, his heart turned ice-cold. What mechanical golem is that? Even a Sky Knight could be instantly killed. The Steel Lord had even sent such a treasure to protect his nephew? Damn it! A mechanical golem that could kill a Sky Knight was priceless in Tyrannid subcontinent. Even if a level 2 warlock obtained such a treasure, he still wouldn't easily lend it to others, but rather would use it as a trump card in battle. Boom! Boom! Along with 2 loud sounds, the 2 crates instantly split open. 2 tall gunner troops at once rushed out from the crates, the Vulcan cannons mounted on their bodies aimed at the warlock in a black robe. Countless streams of information surged within their eyes. Not good. Warping force field. A touch of an ominous premonition immediately welled up in the heart of the warlock in a black robe. An incomparably formidable warping force field instantly shrouded him. The Vulcan cannons bombarded the warping force field. Their trajectories were directly warped, and shot towards the surroundings of the warlock in a black robe. But the Vulcan cannons had a firing speed of 600 rounds per second. The 2 level 7 gunner troops were equipped with a total of 8 6-barreled Vulcan cannons. Their firing speed was as high as 4,800 rounds per second. Coupled with the trajectory optimization and lock-on of the super chips calculations, the majority of the cannonballs hit the warlock in a black robe. The deadlock lasted for less than a second, before the warping force field of the warlock in a black robe directly collapsed. His lower body was also torn to shreds by the terrifying Vulcan cannonballs. Gars watched the warlock in a black robe's lower body turn into a bloody mist. His eyes flashed with incredulity. Instakill. Instakill, a level 1 warlock. Heavens, am I not seeing things? This is Steel City's mechanical golem legion. Truly terrifying. The aristocratic youngsters' eyes also flashed with incredulity, their gazes brimming with envy and traces of jealousy as they watched the 2 Gundam-like level 7 gunner troops. Once the warlock in a black robe died, the entire bandit army at once fell apart and dispersed. Yang Feng only let the level 4 mechanical bladed troops kill the bandits. He didn't dispatch the level 7 gunner troops. The offensive power of level 7 gunner troops was extremely terrifying, but their ammunition consumption was also extremely huge. Although Yang Feng had transported a lot of cannonballs, but it was only enough to be used on warlocks. Those ordinary humans could be dealt with by the close combat level for bladed troops. The Shizu could also manufacture battle robots with unlimited ammunition. But the technological level of battle robots with unlimited ammunition was too high-end. It wasn't something that Yang Feng could manufacture at present. Therefore, when those powerful destructive level 7 gunner troops, level 7 artillery troops and other battle robots were far away from the headquarters of Black City, Yang Feng couldn't easily use them due to the logistical pressure. Relatively speaking, the bladed troops were his main battle force. A rather beautiful aristocratic young lady Bella with a head full of short blue hair and a few freckles on her face said towards Yang Feng with extreme envy, "Yang Feng Dage, your uncle is too good to you." The rest of the aristocratic youngsters also revealed traces of envy. In order to protect a blood relative, he dispatched a mechanical legion capable of exterminating an official warlock. This kind of extravagance, many large warlock families wouldn't do such a thing. Many large warlock families' patriarch sons and daughters would at most have a few level 3 apprentice warlocks or great knights or earth knight rank experts as bodyguards. Only some formidable level 3 warlocks or great warlock forces might have a level 1 warlock willingly become their child's bodyguard. Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "That's because I'm uncle's only relative in this world." Gars suddenly pointed towards the bladed troop and asked full of curiosity, "Yang Feng Dage, are those carriages filled with such mechanical golems?" The aristocratic youngsters' gazes all at once concentrated on Yang Feng, their gazes brimming with curiosity and excitement. Chapter 41. This time, Yang Feng's caravan had up to 500 carriages. If all of them were level 7 bladed troops or level 7 gunner troops, then it would definitely be an incomparably terrifying force. Even a level 3 warlock might not be a match for this mechanical legion. Only a great warlock, who had completely surpassed the limits of mortals, might be able to destroy a mechanical legion of 500 level 7 mechanical golems by themselves. Yang Feng played it down, only a part of it. Those aristocratic youngsters at once revealed indescribable envy and jealousy in their eyes. Among the 500 carriages, even if there were only 20 with bladed troops and gunner troops, that would already be an extremely terrifying force. In any principality, it would be a strategic force that would decide the fate of the state. For Yang Feng to be able to use such power at will, the strength of his power far surpassed that of those aristocratic youngsters who were originally people above others. After defeating all of the Hunting Tooth Wilderness's bandit allied forces, those bladed troops began to clean up the battlefield, collecting all the materials that could be collected. The weapons, equipment and money of those bandits were all added up. It was also not a small amount. After the battlefield was cleaned up, the huge caravan began to slowly move forward. Night fell, darkness shrouded the earth. More than 10 kilometers behind Yang Feng's caravan, there was a simple large tent that occupied an extremely vast area. Inside the tent, the severed heads of countless highwaymen formed a small mountain. At the top of the mountain floated a mechanical ball the size of a wash basin. Countless tiny mechanical tentacles extended out from the mechanical ball, piercing into the heads of the highwaymen and reading their memories. Hunting Tooth Wilderness's bandits came from all over the world. Their memories also contained a lot of useful information and knowledge. In Tyrannid subcontinent, warlocks grasped everything, monopolized all knowledge. Any knowledge was very precious. Therefore, after Yang Feng beheaded his enemies, he would read their memories and record all of the enemies' memories into the database, enriching the database's resources. The richer the data resources in the database, the more accurate the various deductions would be. Furthermore, through the memories of those bandits that came from all over the world, Yang Feng could understand Tyrannid subcontinent's local customs, taboos, power distribution and other information. Dragon blood. Really lucky, this guy actually carried such a treasure on him. Yang Feng fiddled with the crystal bottle containing dragon blood and his eyes flashed with a whiff of excitement. The dragon blood potion was an extremely rare and precious potion. The defensive power of the crystal bottle containing the dragon blood potion was also astonishing. Furthermore, it was not hit directly by the machine gun, which was why it was lucky enough to survive. Yang Feng handed the dragon blood elixir to an octopus-like robot with many tentacles and said, "NR 3796, can you synthesize this dragon blood elixir?" Number 3796's consciousness could descend onto any robot equipped with a smart chip. An opening appeared on the head of the octopus robot, and a small glass straw extended from inside to absorb a small portion of the dragon blood elixir before withdrawing it. Immediately after, a large amount of data flowed from its eyes. Begin analysis. Analyze the feasibility of the analysis. This potion can be analyzed and synthesized. Start modeling analysis. Analysis progress 0. 1%. With my current computing power, it is estimated that I will be able to completely analyze the potion in 10 days. One message after another emerged on Yang Feng's eyeglasses. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a whiff of ecstasy. It can be synthesized. That's great. Dragon blood elixir was an extremely rare alchemical potion. Black Cottage's Master Bonnie had always hoped to obtain a dragon blood elixir, yet he couldn't buy it. Only the 6 great forces or some formidable forces with great warlocks could refine such a treasure like dragon blood elixir. Once dragon blood elixir could be synthesized, then Yang Feng could use a large amount of dragon blood elixir to strengthen his body and promote his strength. Yang Feng inquired and very quickly investigated the origins of that warlock wearing a black dragon pagoda. I thought that it was Savage Claw's Momo. I didn't expect that the assassin came from Black Dragon Pagoda. It seems like a lot of people want me dead. Yang Feng's embodiment of the Steel Lord recommended him to join Warlock College Antalya and obtained the admission qualifications. But in Tyrannid subcontinent, there were also a lot of forces that weren't willing to see Yang Feng join Warlock College Antalya. After all, Yang Feng's embodiment of the Steel Lord had the strength to break the balance between the 6 great forces. Although Yang Feng didn't want to make such a big scene, but his cultivation aptitude was really too poor. If it wasn't for his status as a blood relative of Steel City's City Lord who recommended him, then it would be impossible for him to enter Warlock College Antalya, so much so that it would be impossible for him to join any warlock force. Yang Feng examined the bandit chief Gria's important memories and suddenly creased his eyebrows. An ancient god's treasure trove. It's even related to Snow White Pagoda. This Gria really isn't simple. This is troublesome. Gria's original name was Kanea. He was a sky knight with battle prowess comparable to that of a level 1 warlock. Such an expert, no matter where he went, would be recruited and enjoy endless glory, splendor and wealth. However, he actually entered the Hunting Tooth Wasteland and became a bandit leader in the Hunting Tooth Wasteland. That was because he provoked the Snow White Pagoda and obtained a secret regarding the ancient god's treasure from the Snow White Pagoda. Snow White Pagoda was a peak force in Tyrannid subcontinent, second only to the 6 great forces. Snow White Pagoda's current pagoda master Snow White Madam was a great warlock rank expert. When Kanea provoked Snow White Pagoda, he could only choose to flee and hide in Hunting Tooth Wilderness where dragons and snakes mingle and conceal his identity, becoming Gria and establishing a not small foundation. Kanea used a secret treasure capable of resisting divination to conceal himself from Snow White Pagoda's eyes and ears. Now that secret treasure was chopped to pieces by Yang Feng's mechanical bladed troops, it no longer had the power to resist Snow White Pagoda's divination magic detection. Yang Feng didn't know when Snow White Pagoda's divination magic detection would occur and he would become Snow White Pagoda's target. Gods had a lifespan by far surpassing that of other life forms. Even the lowest rank of feeble divine force rank gods had a lifespan of more than 1 million years. Therefore, in this world, there were a lot of experts that chose to become gods in order to live longer. In this world where warlocks controlled everything, becoming a god was extremely dangerous. Basically, once one became a god, then they would be killed by the main continent's peak warlocks and then be reduced to alchemy materials. Those that chose to become gods, in order to resurrect, would get a few treasure troves outside of their divine countries. After resurrecting, they would retrieve the treasure troves to quickly restore their strength. The ancient god's treasure trove that Kanea knew about was a treasure trove hidden outside of 7th Warlock Dynasty's divine country by a god.